beautiful thing right now.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day. I am alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to white light.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
It's crazy evil.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the morning dump, first of the month, September 1st. What's up, everybody? What is today? Today's Monday? Yeah, Monday, Labor Day. Forgot. Yeah, it is Labor Day. Bullshit vacation, but hey, we'll take it. So, whatever. I guess some people get off these days. Some people don't. Some people get paid. Some people don't. I don't know. Let's be real. You typically only get this day paid off if you have some sort of connection to the government and your or a corporation or some shit. So not all of us are getting the hookup today, but hey, whatever. I know it goes on. The news cycle continues. I will go ahead and warn you guys today. I was thinking about being like, it's Labor Day. I should take the day. I'm like, but I am probably going to pick up a shift tomorrow, so there probably won't be a morning dump tomorrow. Plus, it is a bullshit holiday. So what even is Labor Day? Wasn't it like something to do with like labor unions or some nonsense? So it's some commie bullshit, but whatever. I mean, I guess I'll take it. Whatever. They scammed the government to, federal holiday, whatever the hell. We'll take it. But I've got my workout in, my run today already. Been pretty relaxed. Had breakfast. So I hope you guys have had a good morning as well. I hope you've done something productive so far. And if not, maybe you'll get on it soon. Well, actually, you will get on it now because we're here together. This will be productive. You'll at least learn something. We'll be going through a lot of information together. Before we do our good mornings, I'll scroll through chat, make sure no one's complaining about sound or anything wild like that. No, it sounds like everyone's good. No complaints there. But before we say hi to the cast, actually, one more little thing. I do want to give one little apology. And then I guess a little bit of it up front before everyone, jumps to, oh no, I didn't get the notification from YouTube, this, that, censorship. Yeah, I'm all about that. They do screw me a lot, but I mean, I screwed up this time. I think it was my fault if you didn't get that early notification because I didn't realize until like 2 minutes before the show that I'd accidentally set it for PM instead of AM. So you didn't get that normal like little 30-minute little like notification ahead of time. So sorry. So maybe they'll slow up some of you guys, but it works out. We have a long clip for the morning video today, so it'll give more time for people to roll in despite the late warning. Oh, you guys see Jeff walking there in the back? Say hi to Jeff, everybody. All right, guys. While we wait for the rest of the class to roll in, let's go through the morning video. If I can find it, here we go. It's a little long. We'll play it on fast speed. I'm not sure if we'll watch all of it, but I thought this was really good. And there you go. There is Jeff. You just heard him there. But let's go and play this. I guess I didn't watch all of this, I'll be honest, so I've missed the entire context of everything except for what we're about to watch together, which I watched this clip on my own earlier, so, I mean, I was just super interested in it. But apparently Alex Stein, I think, I don't know what's going on over there, if Tim's out or what, or I mean, I know he had a kid semi-recently, so I don't know, whatever. I've been noticing he's been sitting out a lot more recently, having guest hosts and such, and letting Phil take over to the show's detriment. But anyways, yeah, I just saw this come across my feed, and I was super intrigued. I guess Alex Stein was guest hosting. From the little bit I picked out of just scrolling through the feed, this is by no means an informed thing here. From the impression I got, I think he was filling in for the morning show and maybe IRL as well, because I looked like they had the Misfit Patriot guy on or something, and I want to say maybe for like the morning show. I saw clips with that Rathbone guy, which I don't really know who that guy. He's some like lefty guy-ish that's sort of, I don't really even know what he is, to be honest. I know he's kind of viral-ish. I mean, it's not to throw shade at him at all or anything like that. I didn't watch this thing. I don't know. I know he's a little bit more lefty. He's got some pretty damn good clips, though. I've watched of his before in the past. I'm like, oh, it's pretty good. I mean, he's a little bit smug, annoying, but pretty solid on a lot of the stuff. I mean, you might go a little bit hard on the. I'm not as fan as the angle of like Hamas is the freedom fighters. You're like, sort of. I mean, I think calling them freedom fighters is also like wrong and gay in the same way that calling them terrorists is probably also kind of wrong and gay. Although they're both kind of true in the same sense as well. So it's just really, these are just terms you choose depending on how you want to look at it. And I think they're both kind of gross in their own way. Particularly when you speak about really any of these. Like I don't know, it's like speaking about our military as freedom fighters. I think it's kind of ridiculous. Just as it's also maybe a little bit ridiculous to call them terrorists. So, I don't know. It's just, but anyways, enough, I guess, of pussyfoot around this. But I guess Alex had some sort of blow up on some smug bitch. I think this is the afternoon show, I think. That's why I felt the need to preamble this. Because I saw something with Alex and hosting and so I think this is IRL. So I think this is the main show. So you got to think there's like 5 people here, and I guess Alex Stein's either I don't know if he's supposed to be hosting this for this one or if he's co-hosting with Phil. Either way, I don't know. It's just a weird dynamic because the impression I haven't watched IRL in a long time, nor did I honestly ever really someone who watched it regularly. Obviously, you guys know I've been a guest on it, so I mean, like, I never really cared for it particularly. I really, frankly, think it's kind of a low-tier show, but hey, some people like it. It's a big platform, and obviously I took it. But, you know, anyways, as of late, they, at least in the past, they kind of was like, hey, I mean, I know Cassandra used to be the booker. They used to book a lot of really good guests, and they still book some guests like time to time. But so there was the justification of like, all right, they're introducing people. It's kind of like a starter podcast to me. It's like where you start out at. We were like, I'm trying to find people because they have a regular cast of people. So it is good if you can somehow get on there. That's great. I was able to. I don't expect to call back anytime soon. Not that I really think anyone's paying attention to what I'm saying here anyways. So it really impede me from getting on anyways. I'm not that delusional that I think like the booker or Tim is watching all this stuff, but I just don't really care. But anyways, as of late, just the little bits of glimpses I see into that universe just seem more and more insufferable and running cover for pure fucking evil. So I don't know. It's just kind of cathartic to see what we're about to watch here. Alex kind of blowing up, and I don't know. Just let's watch it together. We'll just kind of. It's just fun. This really isn't anything deep. I mean, I guess that's what these introductory videos are supposed to be. I just wish this one wasn't so long. But once again, probably won't play it all. Let's watch it. Oh, I did it again. What the hell? Give me a second, guys. I swear, did I not have this up? I swore I brought it up to begin with. Was it ever up? I'll have to look back on my own later because it's like I'm adding things to the stage and they're bringing them down. But at least okay, the music's there. All right, give me a second. Now let's start over. My bad. All right, let's go and play it.
Joe Blow! Get down!
No, I just get so mad because you guys are just so thick. It's like
just because we don't agree with you, chill out.
Jeffrey Epstein didn't work for Mossad.
Oh, come on.
You think anybody who works for Mossad is going to wear a shirt that says I work for Mossad?
Do you know who Ghislaine Maxwell is?
You really think the Mossad is that thick?
Because you're so smart. Do you know who Ghislaine Maxwell is?
Like, who is this broad? Let's go.
Do you know who Ghislaine Maxwell's father is?
What?
Robert Maxwell. You know when Robert Maxwell died, you know what kind of funeral they gave him? They gave him the
Tell me more from the Groypers. Tell me more from Candace Owens. Please.
Not from Candace Owens.
Tell me more.
Can someone tell me who this is? I bet you one of you guys in the chat to know who this is. She is just awful. Yeah, Tyler's in the chat, by the way, saying, look at her laptop sticker. Yeah, it is frankly awful. By the way, Tyler, hey, if you're available, let me know. I'll gladly send you the invite link. You can join, but I don't know what you're doing right now. But yeah, it says look. Yeah, I assume someone says she's a J. Thanks, JB. If you couldn't tell by the the Star of Rem fan on her fucking laptop there. But yeah, let's keep playing. Let's keep going through this.
This is why this abroad is so stupid because.
But for those who didn't catch it, she literally said, "Oh, Jeffrey Epstein didn't work for Mossad or something," and her reasoning was because he wouldn't wear that shirt. Obviously, I'm assuming they're referring to that one photo that went out a while ago with the butler where he was literally wearing an IDF shirt, which I think Dershowitz said he gave to him, if I recall correctly. So that's even another little bit of lore to that. But anyways, and then so her reasoning's like, oh, because he wouldn't wear it. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, whatever. I mean, I think sometimes they like to flaunt it in your face. And even then, why wouldn't he wear an IDF shirt on his private jet if he was, even just because he was an IDF? I don't know. I guess when you're just that high up, I just kind of feel like whatever, fuck it, like whatever. Let's keep going. Also, like if I could say from my looking into these sorts of things, it's not all that uncommon that a lot of these assets, agents, whatever they may be, a lot of times are straight up just say it, and they'll just like. You'll look after the fact. Who was it? Spence? I'll have to ask Austin. I know there's one guy that he's got the goods on this pretty well. But there's one guy that was like, everybody was like, yeah, he said he was a Fed. Oh, he said he was CIA. Oh, he said he was CIA. And like they almost were like eye rolling about it. Like he just says all sorts of shit. And there's just so often you see that. And then later then they die or something crazy happens. And you're like, oh, holy crap, they weren't full of shit. They were doing some glowy shit, and it's tale as old as time, it seems to be, in the parapolitical world. And even then, though, it's just kind of like a because he wore an IDF shirt, like, even if you were trying to say he was a IDF or he was Mossad because he wore that Mossad or IDF shirt or whatever it was, that also would be bad logic. But it also, I get where people go, look at that, but that's all it is. Look at that. But let's keep going.
This is just open. This is just open information. No, it's not. It's not from Candace. No, it's not from Candace because when Robert Maxwell died.
Oh yeah, and also Tipona, she just did that stupid Groyper thing because he's talking about the Robert Maxwell, and it's tell me what the Groypers have to say. It's like. Let's keep going.
He was never in the Israeli military, but he got
this. Go back to when you were talking about the map.
Shut up. Let me finish talking. Of course, she's going to use her Jewish magic to try to cancel me. Listen, no. Let me finish what I'm saying. Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, Robert Maxwell, when he died, and he fell off a boat in a very weird way. So when he died, he got an official Israeli IDF hero's funeral. The funeral that only a certain person that even lost their life in the line of battle.
Esmeralda Farmer Galbraith, was she involved at all with the government?
No, listen, do not try.
What? And then look, okay, people need to pay attention to the dynamic at play here. Like, I mean, I guess that's too fair. I think all I see is Libby, Phil, whoever this fucking just evil broad is, and then Alex. I'm not seeing a fifth. So I guess to their benefit, usually the dynamic here is it's like their whole crew, which that's fine, whatever, that's their show. But people should be aware that this is the dynamic. And that and you have usually a guest that comes in, and this time it's a little bit different because it's the guest. I think Alex is filling some sort of hosting role or some sort because he was there, I believe, for the morning or something. And then you have this other broad who I think is filling the guest role. And then anyways, point being is you're kind of ganged up here. So it's like, look at the interference immediately being run here. Why? Like, what do you serve here? What does this broad serve here? And to be frank, honestly, that's kind of, let's be real. Anytime this bitch opens her mouth half the time, that what I just said now applies. I don't think I've ever, in any time I've ever seen any clips, anything of interest other than the very few times I see shit is usually when it's like running cover for some nonsense, running interference. I mean, I guess to be fair, that is me applying motive there because it's like, I don't know. Maybe she's just this shit at fucking commentary that she's just like, I guess right now I should ask her about some really fucking specific detail about the thing he's going into right now. That's exactly what people want to talk about. But anyways, it's super clearly trying to get him off the path, and it was kind of a side thing. She's talking about Farmer. I'm not even sure what her point is because obviously I'm missing the full context here.
Derail me from this. I'm trying to talk about serious stuff.
Because nobody cares.
No, because I have idiots like you that say, "Oh, there's no connection to Jeffrey Epstein and Mossad."
Look at how emotional you are, Alan.
Shut your mouth.
Look how they do this. Look how emotional you are. Yeah, because you're like you're talking about what. Let's be real. Alex probably does, and I do as well. It's likely we're talking about a child trafficking ring here. So. Yeah, I get a little heated.
She just shut up. This is the thing. Yeah, because I get mad because she's lying. Let me tell you something. Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, but you lie all the time, and I don't get mad.
Maxwell, listen, this is not a lie. Jeffrey Epstein.
I have the courage of my conviction.
Let me finish my point.
So I can be calm.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
I mean, I know this is stupid. The courage, once again, this is why I point out the dynamic. I have the courage in my convictions. That's what I can be calm. No, you're in home territory. Like, you can be calm. Like, if anything, it's kind of... I would watch this clip the other day. I was like, man, Alex did, for like, if anything, he was more judicious than I would be.
Her father worked for Israel. She is now currently in...
Although to his benefit, because I think him being more judicious allowed him actually, if you like, get some more information there, whereas I would probably get a little shitty. But let's go.
Prison.
Although I'm not one who wants to really... But this is just so... I don't know, just even from the jump, like, oh, they're not connected because this, and like... Just all of her retorts to everything, it's just so stupid that you're like, how do I not get disrespectful? And so, I know, I totally get where Alex is coming from.
For sex trafficking children. Her connection to her father is directly connected to Mossad. Now, people like you are going to lie and say that there's no connection.
You know what that means?
But when you...
Look at him, though. I do got to give him props. Like, look how good he is. He's even doing the good, like, which... You know, this is credit to him. He's done this for a long time. He's looking at the camera. Like he signaled to her over the side. So he's selling this clip even better, which good to him. Fuck her. So which allows him to probably shut her out. So because let's be real, her glaring's probably a bit of a distraction. I mean, even for Alex, it's a bit of a intimidating situation. Let's be real. You're outnumbered here. I mean, Alex Stein's a big boy, but you're outnumbered in someone else's house in a weird situation. You probably got flown out there. You're in a hotel that's not your home. And they're going to try to portray him as the emotional one. Let's keep going.
Look at Jeffrey Epstein, and you can look this up. When they did a search of his house, they found that he didn't just have an American passport, he also had an Israeli passport. So if you really do not think that he was not connected with our intelligence agencies and the intelligence agencies of the woman that he was working with to sexually traffic kids, whose father has so much evidence that he was part of Israelis' Mossad agency, you're the liar. You're the one that's not connecting the dots when it's so obvious. So I get frustrated when you just sit there and lie and say there's no connection to Mossad.
You're so sure. I said he didn't work for Mossad.
You don't know that. You have no idea.
You don't know that he does.
Well, there's a lot of dots that are connected, and I know that there's classified levels of information.
Yes, but there's also but he's also been connected to other intelligence agencies, not just Mossad. And also, he wasn't he was part of the political class. He was the elites, and there's a whole political.
All right, I guess I want to give a tiny bit of. I don't know what was said. Once again, could go back to. I don't know what was. I guess to give the tiniest bit of backing up for this broad, because it does open with a cold open where he doesn't work for Mossad. He's wearing that shirt. And so, like, I guess to be clear, I guess there's a possibility that, like, literally right before this clip started, that like. Alex asserted for a fact that he worked for Mossad or something, which, let's be real though, that's at this point in time, that's far less of a ridiculous assertion to make than to say he didn't work for it, work for them or whatever. But either way, both aren't aren't entirely founded on logic, although I will say on good logic, whereas at least one of them's more founded, like. Actually, I don't know. I take that back because you can't prove a negative. I know, whatever. Point being is neither are on ground if that's the claim. So although even still, she said stupid shit the entire way throughout. So let's keep going.
And there's a whole political class in Israel, just like a deep state, just like in America. And those people were all hobnobbing around. And the only person that he had a connection to in Israel is Ehud Barak.
That's his only connection? Ghislaine Maxwell's dad is Robert Maxwell. How stupid are you? Do you not realize who Robert Maxwell is?
Epstein.
And do you not know Jeffrey Epstein's connected to Ghislaine Maxwell? Are you too stupid to put that together?
Okay.
No, I just don't know how stupid you are because you don't think that Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein work together?
This is what I think. I think you should...
What the hell is this? Someone playing.
I'm not protecting Jeffrey.
Why is there a commercial on here?
Because it connects.
This is what I think. This is what I think. I think you should.
Okay, someone recorded. Okay, that's what. Someone recorded this, and that was the YouTube commercial. All right,
on from Tablet Magazine, and I think you
sounds like a retard. I don't need Tablet Magazine to realize that Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein work together. You don't want to admit that because it connects the dots and it makes Israel look bad. And then you look at people like Tom Alexandrovich, a pedophile.
No. How can I help?
Oh, and then there's this other broad. Who is this? I don't know who that is. So I don't even mean that to be mean. I don't know who that is. I didn't know she was here. So I literally don't know who that is. So let's keep going.
No, you can't mediate because I'm sick of liars. I'm just sick of liars. Like, you're the type of person
let me see what
because it connects the dots and it makes Israel look bad. And then you look at people like Tom Alexandrovich, a pedophile.
No. How can I help?
No, you can't mediate. Because I'm sick of liars. I'm just sick of liars. Like, you're the type of person with Tom Alexandrovich.
No, real quick, Jamie.
Hey. I don't. This is so. I just don't get why these people feel the need to, because like he's just cooking with. Why are you even the idea that you feel the need to jump in on this is just let him cook. Let him what. This is clearly like I don't know that other chick. I don't know her motivations. It's like, what is the need to jump in here? Like this is, and I think when this got put out, if I recall correctly, I saw it by a few pro-Zionist accounts, maybe even the Timcast account, and it was kind of this like, oh, he's going crazy, oh, he's losing, like kind of just making him seem unhinged. And it's, I don't know. I think he's being emotional, that's for sure, but it's a righteous indignation, and I don't know. I think most people can recognize the difference.
Guys, let's
just
bring it down. Just bring it down. Bring it down.
That Jeffrey Epstein didn't work for Mossad. I'm lying.
Yeah, because you're not connecting the dots. You're trying to. It's like Tom Alexandrovich. Why did Benjamin Netanyahu lie?
Alex, the fact that you're so sure about this and it makes you so angry.
Because I don't want
so much more about your character. There's so much more about your character than anything related.
I'm not a shield, and I'm willing to call balls and strikes.
Bring the temperature down here a little bit.
No, I want to raise the temperature up because we're not pussies.
No, because it's not 9:30 and it's a Friday, man. I do give a damn.
I'm passionate about this, and I don't want these people out here protecting Jeffrey Epstein. I think it's a big deal.
She's not protecting Jeffrey Epstein.
He didn't have any connection with Mossad. If he didn't have a connection with
the intelligence agency, he didn't work for Mossad.
Obviously, okay. Do you think, Phil?
I think he probably had a lot of connections with, but in terms of who he was close to, the only person he was close to was
or the CIA.
If I understand correctly, he did not have a connection to Mossad or CIA. He had connection to powerful, like wealthy people. Now, whether or not that was
former Prime Minister of Israel.
What is Phil even fucking talking about? Like, what did the fuck?
He was close to the only person he was close to was
Sorry, I'm backing up. I just had to digest what the fuck
CIA.
If I understand correctly, he did not have a connection to Mossad or CIA. He had connection to powerful, like wealthy people. Now, whether or not that was
what is that even? Okay.
Prime Minister of Israel.
Don't we have super chats?
Including the former Prime Minister.
His best friend was at his house all the time.
I swear.
Who's hanging out with the Prime Minister? Who's hanging out with the Prime Minister of the country? So you're not just Joe Blow.
Take it down.
No, I just get so mad because you guys are just so thick. It's like
just because we don't agree with you, chill out.
It's not that you don't have to agree with me. It's that she's saying that he's hanging out with the Prime Minister, and you're looking at me like I'm crazy because I think that he might work for the government if he's hanging out with the Prime Minister. You're the one gaslighting me. I'm not the crazy.
I'm not gaslighting anyone.
I can't see the forest for the big tree in front of your face.
No, again, this is not gaslighting. This is straight up saying, okay, we don't see things the same way you do. Generally, disagreement around this table is something that we take in stride. This is a very normal thing for people to disagree. Okay, we do not need to go ahead and.
I mean, I don't know how obvious does it? I mean, I guess I don't know. You can't like factually, point by point, but like, I mean, how this is just a kind of a masterclass in like obfuscation and running cover. I mean, I don't know, maybe they could have done things a little bit more overt and a little bit better in some ways, but like as he's getting off, like, let's be real, clip-worthy moments. He's getting what then becomes the moment is that he's so upset because they keep, running, keep, pushing in on the conversation, keep pushing this way, that way, like, I don't know, trying to get him to come down, like, oh, we're just disagreeing, like, oh, well, he's not directly to Mossad. You're like, the leader of the country, like, I don't know, it's. As I'm trying to think in my head, like, there had to have been specific ones like connections to Mossad, but maybe I'll come back to it later. But even then, it's kind of like, well, we're literally like, you're like, well, I don't think he's connected to Mossad, or you're like, you were talking about the literal prime minister. All right, let's keep going. Maybe there's more to this.
Start screaming at each other like this.
It gets certain people emotional.
I just get emotional because you can't defend it. Like, can you defend how Benjamin Netanyahu just lied and said when Tom Alexandrovich just got arrested for doing a pedophile sting in Las Vegas that he wasn't actually arrested? Do you think that's cool that he lied about that, protecting another pedophile?
I think the fact that you tie pedophiles to Israel and not a country.
I didn't do that. The pedophile that works in
what an insane. Just say, yeah, that was not cool. He's so right here. Alex is so right. Like, it's insane because it's like beating your head against a wall, and so it's like it's frustrating. You're like, dude, what the, like, just literally this right here. He even tries to be this specific example, the most easiest examples. Like, Benjamin Netanyahu like lied multiple times. He particularly said he was that it wasn't an arrest at one point. He framed it. I think he had a couple different versions of how he framed the situation. But the most specific one was claiming that it was an arrest or whatever, saying no big deal. I think he may have. I forget because there were differing officials at differing times, and I think maybe Netanyahu might have chimed in once or twice on it, but either way, they all kind of lied. I think at one point they were just like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about." Like some officials were trying to act like, "Oh, whatever. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe some other Alexander or some shit." But anyways, this one's confirmable at this point. Like he's dead on here.
Cybersecurity division, he's the one that did it. I'm not the one that diddled the kid. He diddled the kid. He happens to work directly for Benjamin Netanyahu. And do you think that's cool that Benjamin Netanyahu lied and said he wasn't arrested?
If Netanyahu lied about some pedophile, then I think that...
Some pedophile? Like, Zio's just dismissive. Like, some pedophile? Like, he is like the cyber... He's like, I'm pretty sure from my understanding, he's like kind of the cyber guy. Like, I don't think they have, like, a cyber cabinet or whatever. Like, but if they did, it sounds like he would probably be the guy, is my understanding of the situation. I mean, maybe they're overemphasizing his role a little bit, but that's been my impression.
He should be accountable for that lie. But without looking into some sort of accusation that you're leveling at Bibi Netanyahu, who I'm not even a fan of. Like, I can't stand Bibi Netanyahu.
Why are you not a fan of him?
And yet, well, not for the reasons you aren't.
What do you don't even know the reasons I don't like him. I don't like him because he bombs hospitals with rescue workers who are trying to give aid.
Yeah, you
don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, when it comes to Netanyahu, like I know the way that like the media frames Netanyahu because I've been privy to the way that they framed Trump. And Netanyahu is the same type of figure internationally.
Catch this though. This is the move. Which I mean, this is not. I don't even know who this broad is. So. I'm assuming she's some IDF agent or some shit. But this is the move, and they've been floating this move out for a while. And I'm actually going to point out in the course of this episode a couple other similar such moves. They're kind of interesting in retrospect. But yeah, just ooh, the deep state. Ooh, they're the deep state now. Yeah, it's a kind of interesting perspective. Actually, I'll go ahead and jump because there's one I might forget to get on earlier. I was thinking about this. I was listening to Dave DeCamps, and I don't know, maybe he explicitly said it or something. It's always hard to tell. But what's this big move for a long time that they've been talking about? Like, oh, we need to get out of the Middle East. We need to stop interfering in the Middle East. And now you wouldn't believe it. I think maybe Dave did point out one of his. He may have said it explicitly in his writing, but like, so this hasn't been an original idea. I don't think of mine. But I swear they made some point about that we need to not be interfering in like Israel's affairs. It's like in the Middle East. Like I don't know how. I mean, we'll get to it a little bit, but before I forget it, I wanted to emphasize it because it's just insane how these narratives are twisted and such. It's just really interesting how things work like that. Yeah, like, oh, well, that's exactly what I meant. Oh, stop interfering in the Middle East. Like, oh, we're just going to fight all of Israel's wars. And when it comes down to the last of them murdering the literal genocide, then we go, oh, well, we won't have anything to do that war. And we're not going to intervene. Well, you want us to stop a genocide? What? Interfere in the Middle East? What are you, nuts? All right.
Like Trump was. And so I find myself having to defend this guy that I don't even like because I know that certain things that people are saying about him is not true. But when it comes to the recent thing that just happened with the pedophile, I haven't actually cared enough to look into that, Alex.
Well,
so I don't have an answer for you. And if you're telling me that he,
you don't care about
and if you're telling me that he lied about that, no, because I'm busy and I just happen to not have like checked the news that day. But if it happens that you're right about that, then
look it up.
But because you get so emotional about that topic, I wouldn't trust you. With other stuff, I would. But because
we'll get into that too. This is the move. Their reputational act is the only thing they have. And they do this nonsense where like, well, you were shitty on hell, even the title of this, one of the titles is Pedantry for Pedophiles. Like, I guess it even applies here. But anyways, let's keep going.
As this seems...
we spent way too much time with this clip already. Is this what Timcast is going to be? Just an LOL cal now? Is this what it's become now? I mean, has it always been this? Is this what it is? Just a fucking punching bag? Is that what it's become? But okay.
I don't need your trust. You're defending Jeffrey Epstein, saying that he doesn't have any connection.
I don't think anybody thinks that I'm defending Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, the idea that there is no room for disagreement, like that is something that we don't do.
No,
like,
we can disagree. We can disagree 100%. I'm just saying I'm allowed to get a little emotional about it because I feel like I'm getting gaslit.
It's fair if you...
We have registered your emotion.
God, what a cunt. Fuck her. I don't even know her. What? We have registered your emotion. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. I don't know who you are, but fuck you. God, man, I hope she doesn't have children. I hope to God she doesn't have children. Like the idea that you'd be like, he's pointing out factual information, and the context here is the safety of children, and you're going to be dismissive of him getting emotional as a man. Like, what higher calling is there for a man? Fuck you.
Hear you. I'm so sorry you're feeling so emotional about this.
Hey, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I know. What do you want to say, Jamie? Where do you think Israel fits in all this?
Oh, I don't. That's not my cup of tea.
So you can't.
Like, I don't even know. I don't even know what her position is on that. But just, I mean, I guess to back up, maybe I don't know. Maybe I misinterpreted whatever that was from her there. But like, that felt incredibly condescending. That felt. Bless your heart. That's what that felt like.
Have an opinion on it?
I just wonder, like, why you're not so emotional about like Sudan or Yemen or something. Where
if they were fucking our kids, I'd be pretty upset about it too. I guarantee it. If we fought all their wars, if hauled out my money, if it's likely probably hauled out my money, but what, in the realm of probably 25% during my lifetime, yeah, I'd be pretty goddamn upset at those nations as well.
The fuck do I give a shit about Sudan and Yemen? I mean, I don't see them bombing hospitals on.
No, what are you talking about? There's literally there's 87,000 children that are being starved right now.
I guess the Palestine, they just are doing such a good marketing campaign.
I'm not, as far as I'm aware, I'm not paying for that. Nor am I being browbeaten into like not being aware of it. Like if there was some movement for awareness of violence in Sudan, and then there were all these gaslighters that came out. There's no violence in Sudan. There's no violence in Sudan. Then you'd be like, what the fuck is going on here?
And I just can't even pay attention to Sudan because my Telegram
that's the truest thing that you've said this entire time about is yeah, I think that's what it is because there's just not consistency there.
Well, when you look at our politicians, and 88% of the politicians that are currently in office are all being funded by AIPAC, I think that you could see that it's a little bigger of a threat, AIPAC, than...
It's funny that you talk about AIPAC, but you don't talk about the ones being funded by the Qatar Foundation, and you don't talk about the ones being funded, and you don't talk about the ones being funded by NIAC.
Retarded if you would think that Qatar has more influence than Israel. I think that you're slow in the brain.
I don't think you... yeah, okay. I think that actually...
So how many
actually, if you look at the...
Oh my God, she's so goddamn... This is... And how does nobody see this? Like, I mean, okay, I thought I fucked up my cord. Like, this is just gaslighting. Alex is so right. Like, I'm feeling his frustration as I watch this. Like, there are multiple other people here, and the times they chime in, it's we're getting emotional. I'm like, well, let's talk about this other specifically. Like, well, what about over here? Like, while she's being the fucking biggest, dumbest piece of shit there ever was in the world. Like, and how, I mean, I get it, like, you can't attribute motive because you're in mind-reading territory, but it's like, repeating this thing over and over again. I'm seeing a pattern here. I'm noticing over and over again. I'm providing pretty solid fucking, here's this example, that example, this example, and you're just like, here's some dumb bullshit that doesn't make fucking sense. You're like, well, at some point, you're like, it seems like maybe you're trying to undercut the legit shit I got here.
All you have to do is research it, and all you have to do is go one block.
They funded some colleges, so now that they own.
No, you can't go a block in D.C. That's not tainted with Qatari money. You know, Qatari bought the congressional baseball game.
Okay.
It's such a joke. It's such a joke, guys. The Qatari thing's so dumb. I don't even like. I almost don't even feel like I don't need to respond to it. But it just once again. That's like literally the best example. They house the largest military base in the United States over there, or not in the United States, in the Middle East, as far as I'm aware. That was where I deployed in 2015, when I was in the Air Force. I was in Qatar. I mean, it's a fairly relatively, from my understanding, I never left the base. It was from my understanding, you were able to go off base. It was nice out there. It's relatively civilized. I think it was just kind of, flying distance. So that's why I have air bases there from, the action. And we get along with them. There's nothing crazy about it. They're an ally. It's weird, this sinister thing that's popped up from it. And it's just such a weird, Qatari influence. And they're trying to make them the big bad guys when... And as we've been through this before, as this narrative flipping, and now they're in so many, they're getting knots with their narratives here. It's getting ridiculous because even this was to, which they've kind of provided more attention to it. Let's be real. This was just an inversion of a distraction from their Qatari shit because Qatar was the vector through which they were throwing their funding to backdoor fund Hamas. Like, so Israel was fucking was the one seeding Qatar money to fund Hamas. So that was, if anything, this was just a distraction campaign. So
they donated to a baseball game, but
they didn't donate. They literally have been playing the long game. Qatar is the richest country in the world.
Who has more influence on American politics, Israel or Qatar?
At this point in time, 100% Qatar.
You are
before Obama,
so
Israel.
Stupid. You are literally stupid.
You just don't. It's so sad because you're giving
Libby,
in.
you think Qatar has more influence
have no
on American
idea.
politics
You just have
than
no
Israel?
idea.
Libby, don't jump in for a minute. Let me say something.
Libby's
You don't even. You probably have never even heard of the Qatar Foundation.
I don't think you're making a very good argument. You're
Yes,
insulting.
you just
don't know.
You're not making. Oh my God! These fucking people. Oh my God. Like, what happened? I mean, don't get me wrong, they weren't great. But like, holy fucking shit. Holy shit. Like, it's like, do they have like Tim on fucking on video sucking off Taiwanese boys? What is going on? This is astounding. Holy fucking shit.
Alex,
all you're turning around
because people are so obsessed with AIPAC that's all.
I'm sorry, I've spent so much on this. This isn't normally a show for any people coming here. If anything, I was like, in my head, I was like, I'll play like 2 minutes and I'll move on because I do find it interesting. But the more I'm watching, the more I'm like, what the fuck? Whatever. Maybe this is my eulogy to Dibcast. Not that I ever was like really into it or anything, but I guess maybe some people get that perception because like, what the fuck?
You hear? Do you even know about NORPAC?
But yeah, I don't know. I guess I won't. This is.
Listen, when you look at the influence that AIPAC has,
let's talk about it.
You can try to.
Let's talk about it.
Try to distract me from that influence. It's
let's talk about AIPAC. They don't even meet the top 50
in Israel. So obviously,
in terms of spending, yes, they spend more money than AIPAC. Yes.
Who's more powerful, Israel or?
By the way, the thing is, when you argue with these people, like she just brought up something there. I have no idea if that stat is real or not. And the problem is, whenever you argue with these Hasbarists, you almost have to behave in that way. That they are just assume they're lying, because they almost always are. Like, whenever a stat comes out, you go look into it, you find out it's a fucking lie. Like, what was a stat that's always getting thrown around a lot? They threw it around a lot in the first couple years. It was being thrown around by, I believe, that John Spencer guy. He has some, like, fucking university for urban warfare or some gay shit. But he's just some fucking idiot that knows how to regurgitate information. God, what was he? I totally lost my train of thought. What was I getting at with what he fucking? What did he do? Anyways, I was connecting too many threads in my head, and then just fucking went out. Maybe I'll come back. I'm just astounded.
Qatar.
In politics?
Yes.
Right now, Qatar.
Oh my! You think Qatar is more powerful?
Yes, and anybody who really studies this would know that. The only reason that you don't is because you haven't looked into it because everybody talks about AIPAC.
Let's go to super chats.
You're going to have to agree to disagree.
Super chats. People send messages.
I'm happy to hear from the viewers.
Well, that's fair, but normally at 9:40 on.
Oh, I remember my point with John Spencer. Oh yeah, because he brought up. I think it was him that was the origin of that stat where they always would throw around that like. Oh, they have the best, all these weird fucking obscure stats about like, well, if you triangulate it based on, dude clicks northwest, under these specific parameters, then technically Israel has, The funny thing, I'm actually being a little silly there. They didn't even do that, actually. It was like a flagrant lie. It was some crazy, I wish I could remember the specific thing they always threw out that recently... There was a few people who recently, like, literally got down autistically into stats and, like, broke down foreign warfare, and these were, like, literal statisticians that I've watched that were like, they're full of shit. This is completely pulled out of the thin air. It's just such a weird stat that most people don't really bother to look into because who really keeps track of them like that, and so it's just kind of who's going to challenge it. They will do that. Which I guess, to be fair, I mean, if you do just kind of make stats up thin air, most people just assume you're not going to make stats up from thin air. So I'm just pointing out, they lie like crazy. All right, let's move on. Sorry, we spent way too much time on that. We'll freeze frame on this guy for a little bit. All right, let's say our good mornings. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why. I got emotional. Good morning, Noname. Good morning, Boomer. Good morning, Doctor. Good morning, Far Pixie. Good morning, Hello Kitty. Good morning, Tyler. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Marnie Mac. Good morning. I already said good morning, Tyler. Good morning, Qbert. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Did I say Doctori? Well, if not, good morning. Good morning, Jax. He says if Israel kills a kid's family and that kid picked up a rifle off the ground, they call him Hamas. So not gay. They really are fighting for their freedom, considering they're in an open-air prison. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean. I don't know. The specifics. It depends on the specific situation. I think you were more getting at the point where I was... I just don't like both languages of freedom fighter and terrorists are, let's be real, biased language. And sure, there probably are what you could call freedom fighters over there. And there are probably people who have done awful, awful things that you easily could call terrorists that are probably part of Hamas. I mean, October 7th was an act of terrorism, but so has every single military operation that's occurred in its aftermath by the IDF. So, but you'll find no one calling them terrorists except for me and you guys. So, yeah. Good morning, everybody. Who else we got? Good morning, Jesus Hendricks, saying Alex Stein's a real nigga. He sure is. Good morning, Real John Doe. Good morning, Northside. Good morning, JB. Good morning, Chuck Bam. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Did I say? I'm losing track of who I've said good morning to. Good morning, Eddie Grimm. Good morning, Analytical Failure. He said he literally had connections to Ehud Barak, who's Israeli intelligence, to this chick. Yeah, I mean that's what he kept saying. That's what the point she kept being like. Well, not IDF or Mossad or whatever specific things. You're like, I am a step above. I'm a level above you, and you're arguing about the point below it. Like, who cares? Like. Good morning, Liberty Hippies. Phil Labonte got circumcised by choice. Yeah, that would be believable. Gerald says you can actually fact by fact connect Jeffrey Epstein, Israeli intelligence. Whitney Webb wrote a book on it. Yeah. I guess I was more like trying to think of like offhand if I knew like a specific. Here's one. Although who was it? I knew there was one. I can't remember his name right now. It's Although I don't know, I guess maybe he's not a direct connection. Maybe that was just some other intel Mossad guy talking about him. But I think there are direct ones. I was just trying to think of a specific direct one offhand. But so Mossad is a red herring. Says analytical failure. Israeli intelligence is more than enough, which is what Ehud Barak was. Yeah, exactly. So like, and whether wasn't Ehud part of Unit A200 or was that one of the other prime ministers? I know one of them was. So. Eddie's making fun of Phil for being short. And Eddie, that's not nice. Phil's my height. Phil is my height. I have shook his hand. I've looked him in the eye. He is my height. I don't know, maybe give or take an inch, but I'm 5'5", 65 inches. If I'm lying, if I was single, if I wasn't married, I'd be telling you I'm 5'6", but I don't care. I'm not trying to press you. I'm 5'5". We're about eye to eye. He's about my height. Maybe he's 5'7". I mean, maybe even 5'8". Although if he says 5'8", I think he's lying. But yeah, that's about where he is. I will say, I probably have like 50 pounds on him. If I had to guess. He's not I don't know. He's a little guy. He's a little feller. So. I don't know. It's just a diminutive fellow. That is what he is. So I mean, hey, whatever. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Poyu. Good morning, Cheikahu. So I wish this was Kurt instead. Yeah. Good morning, Marty Fly. I did not take the day off. Gerald bailed. I'm sorry I did this to you guys. I'm sorry. We have a lot to go through. I really shouldn't have done that. I hope I don't have to shuttle off stuff till tomorrow or till Wednesday for that. All right. Good morning, King David. Good morning, Glowy Nigger Spick. Said Alex Stein didn't insult her enough. I agree. Like, I'm actually surprised he kept it, honed in on her. Because, yeah, everyone's saying if I was Alex shoes, I'd definitely be chipping. Yep. I'd be. Good morning, Andrew Jacobs says, good morning, homies. Kudos to Jose for working on Labor Day and suffering through Timcast again through y'all. Good morning, Andrew Jacobs. Glad to have you here. He's a new sponsor of the show. Appreciate it. Good morning, Robin. Good morning, JB. He says not just being a gaslighting piece of shit, being a gaslighting piece of shit to defend pedos and genocide with your tax dollars. Ooh, we might get Tyler up in this bitch. I missed him sending the thing. 1 second, guys. Give me one moment. I got to send a link over to Tyler. We'll send it on over. We'll see him soon. Come on. Give me a second. Sorry, guys. All right, I'm sending it over now. Boom. Here we go. All right, well, we might get Tyler with us soon. Let's say our good morning. Maybe he'll be with us by the end of the good mornings. We do have a lot to speed through, but we'll have a guest anyways. Good morning, Nevsky. I think I already said good morning to you. Good morning, Sky High. He said hadn't caught him streaming a minute. Yeah, I haven't seen you here in a while, bud. So good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Robin wants more kitty pics. Good morning, Dave Moore. Says it's strange. I think centuries of blood feuding make for acceptable child slaughter today. For sure. All right. Ooh, Tyler's joined us. What's up, bud? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Just in time for the foreign policy portion of the round. I spent way too much time. I got just sucked into a hate spiral.
I loved it. Let me tell you here. While you're doing that, I grokked about spending for Israel compared to Qatar. And by the way, if you don't know, Pam Bondi, she had to register with FAR at one point. She was a representative of Qatar. She represented them in some sort of fraud issue, the country. So she definitely, I mean, so this is the MAGA people, right? They're out there, they're pushing this, and then one of their own has been heavily influenced by it. But AIPAC spending in Israel dwarfs Qatar's. The problem and how she's getting around this is there's FARA, the Foreign Agents Registry Act, or whatever it is. You have to contribute. If you contribute from Qatar, you have to be registered. You don't have to be registered if it's AIPAC. So they take the AIPAC money out, and now they say Qatar is overspending. But when you put the AIPAC money in, it's not even close.
There you go. Yep, that makes sense. That's kind of to my point. At least with that one, there was like an air of legitimacy to the claim, somewhat factual but not truthful. Whereas I'm pretty sure the claim, I wish I could remember it. Maybe you remember it offhand. I don't know. Maybe you're not that in the niche. The John Spencer thing. He always made a specific quote, and a lot of people ran with it about something about like the least amount of casualties in like an urban area or some nonsense, and you're like, that sounds like bullshit, but nobody questioned it until like fairly recently and looked into it, and it was completely made up out of nothing. There was like no anything to back it up. Whereas at least this is like just a way lying with stats is all that is. So
I have, this whole the debate was, and I'll let you take over here again in a second, but it is fascinating. Like I've tried to go through like the lies, of Hamas or Israel. I can't even go there because I'm like, I don't know how to quantify. I don't know how to verify. There's a bunch of crappy videos. You see the Aguilar guy that comes back and I'm like, oh, that seems legit. You're getting some eyewitness reports and he's got camera and you can talk to him. But it's so difficult. I just tend to just assume all of it's propaganda, except for you can see the decimation of Gaza. So.
Yeah, it's pretty clear, which we'll... We actually have a pretty stacked foreign policy, but we'll probably really roll through it today quick.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts, I guess, on just kind of Timcast, Alex running? I mean, we just spent way too much time on this, so I guess before we move in, I did. It was just me freaking out, I guess, really. But it's, I don't know, it makes me irate, and which is going to tie into, we're going to be covering the Michael Tracy stuff today. It makes me upset, and I think there maybe is a point to it. We're going to get in a little bit of talk about Thad. I guess Thad Russell, he ties into this too, and I guess he was somewhat the inspiration to Michael Tracy in the idea of trying to get at truth. And he, just to get ahead of ourselves a little bit, he brings up a good point that people do kind of lose their critical faculties with some of the stuff, which to some extent, you kind of witnessed me doing that. To some extent, I guess when you do get emotional, you get irate, you do lose a little bit of your critical faculties. I think you can, learn to weaponize that and use it for good. But, I mean, it is an understandable spot for people to get upset about. But I do think we have to be careful to still try to be logical because we can get carried away. But I think that's kind of a red herring in a sense. People are trying to focus in on that and minor details when in fact they are indeed fucking your kids.
Right. And so just as an attorney, I'm in court a lot. And, this is why you get an attorney, especially a family law, because it gets very emotional and someone's saying something across the table that's, completely false and it's not really relevant. Sometimes they just take wild shots and say some things. And then your client, they just really, we need to protect about this. That's why an attorney is a little bit more, less emotional about it. At least it should be. and can make your arguments cogent and the points that you have here. And that's what some people are having problems with. Like this lady, you have an Israeli flag on the front of your thing. What if I had like, a German flag and an American flag and I'm just always defending Germany? So she's a little emotional. I don't have a problem with how Alex went there because sometimes you need to push back against it's enormous gaslighting.
Yeah, insane. It's just astounding when you're just... But anyways, let's move on. I'm not going to get sucked into that hole again. All right, let's roll through it. Apparently, Israel official says Israel may halt the meager aid entering North Gaza amid famine. So, all that GHF death traps we got going on? Well, that's not even happening anymore. That's not going to be happening here soon. So they're planning to halt or slow the meager aid supplies that are entering Gaza City. And other parts of northern Gaza as Israel's expanding its military offensive amid a famine in the area. So I guess it's a mixed bag. We won't be having the shooting fish in a barrel thing, but they're not getting aid at all now. So, hey, over the past 24 hours, 95 died, and a number of them from 88 died just from pew-pew. And then we have... what do we have? I'm trying to find the stats for kids. We're around 10. I believe it was 7 deaths. 7 deaths. No, where the hell is it? There was 2 starved. 2 children were starved. I believe it was 7 adults that starved over the past 24 hours. So, we got almost double-digit starvation occurring damn near every day, which is insane. We're going to have another flotilla coming.
What were their underlying problems? Because the starvation, remember, it was only because they had
bullets and bombs
with COVID. Yeah.
Died with bomb injuries, I guess.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't. He didn't starve. We just blew him up, and he was no longer able to, properly digest food after the head trauma. Many such cases. We got another flotilla coming, so my base retarded queen will probably be making some other photo appearances here soon.
Yeah.
But I guess there's a number of them coming this time. It's the biggest one, 20 boats. So, I mean, we joke, but these people are, and I know a lot of people, even like the Piers Morgans of the world kind of poo-pooed these people. And while I joke and make fun of them, and let's be real, they're probably all faggoty lefties. This is some shit. This is some real stuff they're doing here. So, they're facing danger. It does bring attention to the situation. And to a certain extent, they're kind of saying, hey, fucking kill me, is basically what they're saying to Israel. Because it's like, if they do it, let's be real. They're kind of asking them, they're trying to intentionally, whether they die or not or whatever, they're trying to bring attention to the situation, and knowing very well there's a good chance they could pay a very high price. And that will be the result that be what brings attention to the situation. So, I know. Well, I think maybe protest can be a little bit gay. This is one of the ones where, I don't know, if there's any room for that's pretty dope, this is one of them. So,
well, it's Greta on there. So I'm like, there couldn't be a better thing for her to do right now. It's not the climate, it's Gaza. And Israel's going to just blow them out of the water. They're not going to. And so I'm like, you know what? We're done with Greta. I think it's a perfect sacrifice. Put some focus where it needs to be. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I wouldn't be doing this, but yeah.
Yeah. Then we also got they killed the prime minister over in Yemen. Israel is warplanes are attacking southern Lebanon now, so that's a new thing going on southern Lebanon. They also dropped leaflets out there vowing that strikes against Hezbollah infrastructure would continue. So kind of following the trend of everything is infrastructure or my enemy at all times. So apparently this started forest fires from these. And then we also have Israeli troops raid multiple villages in southwest Syria, which is a continuation of their current invasion in Syria as well. Furthermore, we have, and who would have thought, this is crazy. Here's some new news. Did you guys realize, have you not figured out yet, that Israel sees borders as meaningless? Because
true libertarians.
Yep. True libertarians. The borders mean nothing until it's our borders, and then it means something, of course. They see them as meaningless. This is what I was referring to earlier with the U.S. the Middle East thing about how they swapped it. This is Tom Barrack over there. He's the one who's kind of been the envoy over there. He's been sending a lot of weird mixed messages, and this is kind of what I was getting at. He actually originally, and I didn't think anything at first. I laughed of it and like, oh, well, that's retarded how he didn't follow through with that. He had put out a post like months or so ago that was like at that time when we were kind of at the height of like, woohoo, Trump's so cool, everything's so great. And he put out this post, as the new envoy of kind of like, the time of Middle East interference or whatever the fuck is over, blah, 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 sounding like a really anti-neocon message. And then he kind of ties into this story in that I believe he made some sort of statement along the lines of kind of like not interfering in the Middle East. So that then became a twisting of that and like, so like, hey, whatever, we're not going to interfere. This is how Israel sees borders. They're just borders, man. Like apparently he's been speaking really flippantly, making some weird statements as of late. I guess he said they do not have the capacity or the desire to take over Lebanon and Syria. But then kind of just going out borders just don't, or whatever. We see this though. So it's just wild that this is also the same guy who said, despite the fact we were the guarantor of the ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel, that we couldn't in any way enforce that deal. So I know, just more from there. Let's be real. We know they didn't give a shit about borders, but it's just funny to see literal U.S. officials stating that, like, basically in a way in which he's supporting Israel, being like, well, they just don't really see those as meaning anything. Like, okay, well, that's kind of a big deal because the rest of everybody else sees those as meaning things. And then more on Israel, in the Israel vein. Despite all of this, we've been denying and revoking visas of Palestinian officials ahead of the UN General Assembly. Which was that being held in the United States? Perhaps that's why. It's in New York. So, but they've been essentially people from the PLO and such, and the PA, the Palestinian Authority, and I forget what PLO stands for, but these different Palestinian organizations, they're not being allowed to attend, despite the fact that they have really nothing negative to do with this entire situation. They're just Palestinian officials. The only reason you would want to do that is because they give an air of a possibility of Palestinian unity as a state. So, and also they're being barred from this because this is apparently where a bunch of nations are getting ready to make their big stand and all formally announce that they recognize Palestine as a state. I breezed through a lot. What you got anything on that? I only have a couple more stories, but I went through those real quick. Any thoughts, Tyler?
The only one here is about the visas. So I've looked into this a little bit, and I could totally be wrong. But you always say, well, at least I say this a lot. When you live in Gaza or over the West Bank, what's on your passport? Are you Israel? Are you Palestine? Because that's a problem area, right? They're not a country. They're a sovereign territory, but they're actually being occupied by Israel, and that's Israeli territory in a sense. So it's kind of like a civil war. I don't know. So the question, but what I have seen is if you're going to get a passport, it has to, I believe, be approved by the Israeli government. So this denying of visas here, it seems like you've already gone through a check to get the passport. Now, I don't know if these are people that are now living in Egypt or something else, or they say you have a valid passport, but we think you're tied to the PLO or the PA. That I don't know. At some point, we're going to have to just start making some distinctions here between all of this. But anyway, that's all I have.
No, fair point. And then we have, oh crap, what did I do? Oops, I clicked on the wrong button. We have the Iranian parliament drafts urgent bill to withdraw from nuclear non-proliferation treaty. Not going to go into the specifics of this. I haven't really been doing the ins and outs of all these differing bickering back and forth between Iran and these European nations, but they've been kind of arguing the details of their the non-proliferation treaty or whatever, the one that we backed out of a while back, and then Israel then started giving them shit about it, the other European nations with which they were in the deal with started giving them shit about. Iran says they didn't break any deals, which from my understanding they didn't. The U.S. did, but I think it has something to do with they're still pushing them on some nonsense, but essentially they're at this point, I guess the most recent, back and forth is the European powers essentially put into place some snapback sanctions, the idea that if they didn't do X, Y, and Z, Iran, in relation to the treaty, that then they were going to initiate sanctions, and then Iran called them and said, all right, we'll suck a dick. We're drafting up a bill to withdraw from it. So, let's be real. This is one more thing. This is moving more towards the 12-day war being a retarded name for a war. Mm-hmm. So any thoughts, Bud, before we move on to the last one?
No.
Yeah. The last one here is just kind of more the same. The Ukraine thing falling through more. Europe is drawing up precise plans for U.S.-backed troop deployment to Ukraine. Now, I don't think this is going to happen, but just the idea that this is being floated out, because these are part of these talks publicly. I don't even know if this one was with Russia or not, but these are all things being said publicly. So these are part of international brinksmanship. So I don't think this will necessarily happen. It could, but these are things being floated out to, let's be real, poison any sort of peace process. So, yeah, that's all I got for foreign policy. Before we move on, any thoughts, bud?
Just, it just strikes me that we're still doing this, and, Trump was going to come in and save the day on all of these things, and they're just ramping up. There's a few things. One is you can't have so much hubris that Trump, I think, and his people have, that you can just suddenly solve this. So it's interesting to see them twisting around the narrative. And you saw it with the Israeli lady on Alex, which is you can't say Netanyahu lied about Alexandrovich or whatever that guy is, because that's your team. You suddenly have to always follow along with what the narrative is. And now the MAGA people, look, he didn't solve the war in Ukraine right away. We had, Yemen just happens. You have Iran. You have Israel still a shit show. And Trump's still there in charge. And somehow he's just taking W's from them. It's insane to me. But here we are.
All right, let's get into the first topic of the day. Where are we at? Let's get to. I'm trying to get to the top of this post. Yeah, this is just Nick Fuentes. This isn't a huge thing. I just wanted to really float this out to you because this is a weird one. I don't know if you've been seeing these posts over the weekend, Tyler. Yeah, there's Nick Fuentes kind of putting out what I've been thinking all this weekend as I've been pointing out on Twitter. He's saying there's obviously something going on with Trump that the White House is covering up. This is literally Biden too. I referenced this, I think last week a little bit in some of my coverage. It came up maybe even the week before. I forget the timeline here, but there was all these photos being floated out of the bruises or the weird makeup and this and that on Trump. And he is kind of looking more and more haggard and like shit. I'm gonna be honest, he is. I mean, maybe I'm just noticing it more. But shut up, Jeff. Sorry, Jeff's being loud. But yeah, he's not looking great. And there was a photo they put out this weekend even of him with John Gruden on the golf course. Which was their because there were all these posts of being like, what's going on with Trump? What's going on with Trump? And then the White House put that out. And then as I don't think they referenced the this whole scandal or whatever, if you want to call it that. But let's be real, that's partially what it was for. And then everyone pointed out, based on photos from Gruden's posts and stuff, that this was likely from days prior because he was wearing the same exact clothes, it was the same exact golf course, there's a photo of him fist bumping. So this was probably from days prior. Maybe I think it actually might have been out like a week or so actually. So I don't know what's going on. I just wanted to float that out there. I have no, and I've also, let's be real, I've talked enough about this spooky fuck, JD Vance. So let's be real. I mean, it's so hilarious how this guy, everyone's like, oh, cool, we got JD Vance, our president's assassination proof. Like, that's how everyone was at first. Like, how wrong you are. So any thoughts, Tyler? Do you think we're Bernie, or do you think the irony here is now the left is just not Bernie Sanders, weekends with burning it with Trump? Are we just going to do this with every president from now on? Just kind of have a corpse that we drag around the White House? What do you think?
One, Trump is 79.
Yeah.
So that's getting up there, right? Shit
yeah, it looks like shit no matter what.
Yeah. Two, the Gruden thing doesn't make sense to me because he's so famous, who he was golfing with, former Raiders coach and whatnot, that it would be difficult to, he's easy to just ask, were you on the golf course on this day with Trump? And do you think, I mean, look, Trump is not the kind of person, I tend to think maybe there's a health thing, I don't know, but he's too hard to keep away from the mic. He's going to do an executive order. Something's going to happen. We're going to see him. But it will be kind of interesting to at least make a comparison at this point. I mean, has he not done a press conference or been in front of the cameras? Because I've just tangentially saw everyone's like, he's dead. And then I'm like, oh, he's fist bumping on the golf course. So I don't know. You're by the way, the assassination proof thing, I'm interested in your point on that because, the reason why Biden was kind of stuck out there is because Kamala was behind him. Now it's like no one wants to pull that trigger.
That is a funny point right there because it is like she's the opposite of what you think, and maybe you're about to get to that of like being, because it is like she's a complete team player, but she's just so fucking awful that you're like, right? Yeah, I get you're gonna do everything we want, but you're just fucking awful, so we're not gonna kill the guy.
Right. I mean, there's that, or is she easily controlled? You know, give her a little bit of wine, some Percocets or something, and she's in your pocket. But look how the whole thing came about with Biden pulling out and Kamala going to be in charge. That was a whole, you know, they couldn't control that narrative, the Biden or the Obamas, that is, you know, oh, she's going to be the person. And then Biden writes a thing and then he's like kind of torches and puts a MAGA hat on. Remember, there was a lot of weird stuff going on. I don't know. So is your assumption that people are saying, look, J.D. Vance is so awesome that there's no way they would assassinate Trump because they have this guy in behind? Or is it like he's so pathetic they would never assassinate Trump because then you would have this? Either way, it's
my point was that like I felt like when he first came in, people thought. I mean, let's be real. Everyone wanted like a Massey or Rand or something. Which would be the legit, like, you don't want to kill that guy because then you have that kite coming in next. And then a lot of people were like, okay, J.D. Vance, well, okay, that's kind of in that vein, is kind of where, but so they're like, yeah, okay, cool, that's a good point. Like, everyone was kind of like, okay, because he was saying, like, especially at that point in time, he was, like, at that point saying some pretty base shit, but it was all, like, cultural stuff. So it'd be like, shut up, woman. Like, you'd be like, oh, fuck yeah, so based. But it's like, okay, cool. He's willing to say some like edgy stuff to people that maybe deserve it at certain points in time. But it was never really anything of substance. And so I think people thought like maybe got some. And he does also this thing where he kind of hangs. He's also kind of seemingly paid homage to many thinkers in our sphere, like but the ones that are a little bit more. Murky, like I don't know, like a Chris Yarvin or something, like a bastardization of our ideas while still being on the cutting edge of our ideas, if that makes sense. He doesn't seem to pay homage. So point being, is he kind of was in this weird milieu where he seemed seated to be like this is like but he was also at the same time this weird bastardization of that, and actually the complete opposite of that. Like he is. Once you start digging into him, you start realizing all the Thiel connections. Really, he's actually completely on board with the entire. Let's be real. Whatever the new project is for the establishment and the elites, he seems to be right on board with it. So whatever this position of being, this perception of anti-establishment that was being portrayed, it's completely bunk. I think at this point, and it's that was kind of what I was getting at there. But yeah. All right, let's get into the main stuff of today. Actually, one more thing on that. I just thought it was funny. He was also sharing this shit, which is fucking weird. Which I don't know if you saw this. Like he retweeted it. To be fair, some guy made it. I actually followed it to double check because it was so bizarre. But this is a post of somebody I guess made someone on what the hell am I just trying to say there?
Q over there.
Yeah, that's what makes it even creepy. Like, look at this. Okay, for one, this is for those people who don't realize the pose. You can actually see if you look at my profile thing, it's actually mine. What a weird coincidence. But it's when Todd made it, he just thought it was a cool scene, this cool position, and it was. And then when the trippy backdrop and all that, whatever, I thought it was really cool, and it is. I still dig it. And that's the pose. Was it Dr. Strangelove? I've actually never watched that movie, but I know the theme is he like some nuclear guy is in love with it. So it's very doomsday vibe. So like. I don't know. I just thought it was cool, kind of trippy, I don't know, whatever. It wasn't, but then so this is weird though that in Trump, and then to add to it, you do see literally in his, I think it's his left hand. So I don't know, take whatever symbolism you want with that, I guess. Not that I think it means anything particularly what hands it's in, but there's literally a Q in one hand and a plus, and you can see in the background too, it's like the world and like kind of a light around it. I mean, it almost looks like an eclipse if you were like looking at say the sun was directly behind the earth and you were looking at it from space, kind of like like this light around it. But it's just it's very, if you're someone who trips out by symbolism, holy fucking shit. But there is just something, I don't know if you've even paid attention to the White House Twitter account or any of these different social media stuff for a while. They're very fucking weird. They're creepy, like creepy weird. Like, trust Trump. We trust in Trump. The Trump truth will prevail. Like creepy stuff like that. It's really weird. I don't know. Maybe there's nothing to say there, but this is weird.
Well, two things. One is the flat earthers are not going to like this because it shows Earth as a globe. Two, I just am finishing up, which I think we're going to talk about, Martyr Made, Daryl Cooper's thing on Jim Jones. and the absolute falling in line with what Father has to say reminds me so much of some of these MAGA people, and just what you're even talking about them posting on the White House website. So anyway, there we go.
Yeah, creepy stuff. It does seem very cult-like. I'm not gonna lie. As much as it feels gay to say that, you're like, it does feel that way. All right, the breaking stuff this weekend, which feels like it kind of got buried by some of the other stuff that came out later. Isn't it weird how these things work? This was, what was it, 29th? Was that Friday? No, that was, what is the 29th? That was Friday. Yeah, it was Friday. So on a Friday, let's be real, these breaking, whenever sometimes, let's be real, coincidences do happen. There's only 7 days in a week, but it always seems like big shit always seems to drop on a Friday, and then it's not as big by Monday. But we had, let's watch just, I guess, like a minute or two. Ian Carroll, this beautiful tall bastard, can tell you the specifics on it, or just a layout that what this story is. Of course, the audio's not working. God damn it! Did it again. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. Have you been having issues with StreamYard lately too? Have you been having just an absolute nightmare with it lately?
I do not use it anymore.
No,
I
is
use
it got that bad?
Restream and I use OBS. So
what the fuck is I don't know what is going on. It's just an absolute. I'm sorry. I know this is not what you guys come here for. None of you guys are dealing with StreamYard problems. All right, let's try this again. Is it even up? No, there we go. Now it's doing this thing where it doesn't even bring it up until all right, let's go ahead and play this. This is the big news that dropped on Friday.
So there's this massive file leak that just happened from Ehud Barak, the ex-prime minister of Israel, one of Epstein's very good buddies. Thousands of his emails were leaked online. And alternative sources are talking about it, but the mainstream media, totally silent. Radio silence. And I have spent the last, I don't even know how long, just going down the rabbit hole, and I'm about to take you with me. This is just the start. This is just preliminary reporting. There's a lot of files, and just figuring out how to even analyze them has been a whole process. But through that process, working with my buddy over here on one screen and the reports on the other screen and getting AI involved to write.
All right, cool, whatever. Ian Carroll's digging into it, and you guys can stick around. I don't know. He has fairly good stuff. I'm not one to impugn motives, but I will admit it is also. I do always find it weird. He doesn't seem to really emphasize the stuff that I seem to be more substantive here. That literally would be the stuff that MAGA tends to not like. And what I'm getting at particularly is, here's from Dissident Media. This kind of says it all right here. There's an email. It says from Jeffrey E. Redacted. Date May 30th, 2014. To Ehud Barak. Redacted. And here's the body, the message of the body of the body of the message. There you go. Why would I struggle with that? Peter Thiel can come to dinner on the 9th. Can you stay until then? That's the email. So I don't know. We'll see. I think I watched this. I think I already watched this Ian Carroll video just to kind of get his take. I don't even think he even referenced Thiel, which, to be fair, okay. I guess it was breaking news. But let's be real. Everyone focused in on the Ehud Barak, which, let's be real, that's pretty big. But we already knew the Ehud Barak. We already sort of knew the Peter Thiel, but I think it was what we were at with Thiel was far more sparse. And let's be real, Thiel has far more of a real-world impact on us at this point in time, although Israel does as well. But compared to Ehud Barak, but Peter Thiel, I think, as of now, all we really had on him for Epstein connections was he was in Epstein's calendar, I guess, multiple times. And then also on top of that, he had the Valor Ventures that Epstein, I believe, invested $40 million into, roughly. I might be off on that, if Michael Tracy's watching. And he basically 4x his investment there to get about $160 million. That's still being received by his estate. So let's be real. I don't think that operation probably really started. They may have to restructure some things, but that operation's still receiving money, probably, from Thiel. Allegedly. Well, not even allegedly, just probably. Let's throw that in. That's good. Is that okay legal language there? Am I safe, Tyler?
Yeah, okay, fine. I don't think you're going to have any pushback with that.
Yeah, so, but yeah, here's one thing I'll read on this particularly. It goes a little bit deeper into it. Here's one chick. He said, recently leaked emails from former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak show that he and Jeffrey Epstein discussed arranging a meeting with Palantir co-founder Peter Thiel in 2014. The emails were part of a cache of over 100,000 messages hacked and released by the group Handala in May 2025. Details from the leaked emails. Failed meeting. In May 2014, while coordinating an investment in a security company, Epstein invited Barak to meet with Thiel. Barak was unable to attend that particular meeting. So Barak was supposed to be there. So it was supposed to be Epstein, Barak, and Thiel. That's where we're at. Epstein's persistence. Following the failed meeting, Epstein insisted that Barak spend real time with Peter Thiel and offered to organize a dinner for them the following month. So Epstein insisted that so Epstein introduced the two, and he offered to organize a dinner for them the following month. The outcome of this proposed dinner is not indicated in the available information. Epstein's agenda, according to reporting by Reason Magazine, the leaked emails portray Epstein, which, Reason did report on this, by the way. I thought that was pretty interesting. I haven't checked out the Reason part, so I don't know if it's trash or not, but I was like, oh shit, Reason doing some good stuff. That's random. The leaked emails portray Epstein as a person eager to operate at the intersection of private wealth and public surveillance. He used his relationship with Barak to seek opportunities in the surveillance industry and to connect with powerful figures, including Thiel. Thiel's previous comments. Thiel told the Wall Street Journal in 2023 that he had met with Epstein on more than one occasion in 2014 for networking purposes. He said that he didn't think enough about what Epstein's agenda might have been, but did not mention Barak's involvement in these meetings. The broader context of the Barak email leak also reveals additional information about his relationship with Epstein. Financial ties. Epstein invested in Report Homeland Security, a business venture with Barak in 2015. Discussions of allegations. Contrary to Barak's public claims in 2019 that he was unaware of Epstein's alleged activities, the emails show he had been alerted to sexual allegations against Epstein years earlier. Private island visits. Emails also discuss Barak's visits to Epstein's private island, Little St. James, with Barak referring to it as an impressive island. Here's this one. I believe in one of the ones here, it even goes, trying to arrange it so the security guys will not come with us. This is what was the security guys? They're referring to the island at that point. Any thoughts, Tyler? I mean, that's probably all we're really cover on this specific stuff. I think there will probably be more information coming out. I haven't really seen any people. I mean, there's so much raw data here, so we'll have to. We'll just wait for the information to percolate a little bit before we get more on it. But any thoughts? This is the extent of our early coverage on this for now.
I'm just now looking at the Reason thing, and they are referencing a bunch of Thiel emails and whatnot. So I'll have to look through there. Just a quick thing on Ian Carroll. Everyone's like, you're either controlled or it's that gets a little tiresome for me. What I do with these people is he comes out with something and I'm like, okay, I don't want to know his analysis, but are the emails, are they legit? Is he making up the fact that these emails are there? No. So then I can go and look at this. That's how I use the Ian Carroll's type of stuff. It's like, I need some sources, I get some stuff. Yeah. He finds some interesting things. And if I
think it's a good thing for sure.
Yeah. And so, everybody, I don't know if it's our space so much, and there are controlled people. Let's be honest. But I don't know if it's our space so much that it's almost like a jealousy thing, and so you have to take everybody down, or they can't be legit. And I don't know if he is. He's really tall, which is suspicious.
Yeah, very suspicious. Yeah.
But anyway,
I still think there might be, and I think I've even heard him say this before, and so I think maybe there might be something too. I believe he kind of like speed ran through a lot of this information, is my understanding too. So I don't know. I've been reading on this. I don't know, I guess I only really got into parapolitics until a few years ago, but even then I've been reading theories. But point being is I've been kind of sort of, whereas Ian Carroll kind of speed ran all this stuff in a super short period of time, got really big, and then so I think maybe he just hasn't developed as much skepticism as maybe somebody like me, or I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this, because the topic is kind of like, oh, he came to prominence too quickly. It's like, okay, so did Lex Fridman. Okay, does the way that Ian projects his stuff and gives it to you, is it more interesting and entertaining than Lex? You know what I mean? Because sometimes you could come to prominence based on and I don't really know this. I'm just throwing this out there. You come to prominence because you have some skills, right? I mean, it's easy to trash on Tucker and you're confused about him, but he actually is a skillful interviewer, and I'm interested in what he has to say. So regardless of maybe his dad was this or that, who knows, right?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah.
Diedrich Bader, I don't know if you know who he is. He's an actor. He was he was on a Drew Carey show. His dad was CIA man, right? So did he come to prominence? I love him as an actor. I do
think it probably opens doors, especially in those circles. Let's be real. So yeah. So but does that mean? Harvard. Well, that's like we covered in the show before. What's his face? God, what is his name? The goofy guy, mullet, Thiel Vaughn. And it's like you look at his past, and he's just he has got some like what the fuck kind of stuff in his background. But then I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he is some sort of op. Maybe it goes that deep. But he just genuinely seems too goofy and too Although he was also taking meetings with like Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump and shit. Right. So they're like, while he's at the same time complaining about the genocide over there, like, what are you doing? But anyways,
look, maybe we need to start wondering about how the talent pool or the ability to spot talent from the CIA, right? I mean, maybe because look, Thiel he has funny quips. He's a funny guy. They saw something. I don't know about that. Isn't it a thing where the CIA was writing music too in the 80s? You know, about to bring down the.
Maybe you're right. Maybe there's some they're just getting really good at picking them, and then just every now and then there's like some guy, some like recruiter from the old days that picks out like a Lex Fridman, and they're like, he's an old guy. Just whatever. We'll let him be a thing. Like I mean that's Bob. We can't tell him his influencer shit. Like we just can't. Like whatever. We'll make him big. Because Lex Fridman. I don't even know how. Like I don't even have an argument for like why he's not some sort of op. But like it's like. You just kind of got to look at the metrics, watch a podcast, and then go, yeah. Because he's completely uninteresting.
Then he has like Scott Horton on.
Yeah, you're like,
oh, Scott.
I haven't watched that. I never.
You're OKC guy, so he needs a certified Fed.
Yeah,
just more proof.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I don't think. Anyways, yeah, definitely trying to read into who's a Fed and who's not. It's like, but it's just take their information. But yeah, sometimes you get Lex Fridman, you're like, I don't know what to do with that. Like, how are you? Like, yeah, it is. Who knows? Maybe he just somehow he just blew up. People like hearing a robot read things to them. I don't know. All right, let's get into the main thing today. I think we'll probably spend the rest of the episode on this. Have to cut out the Minnesota stuff. Save that for Wednesday. It's fine. It's not time dependent, anyways. Here is a thread we're going to go through. I'll try to get through it fairly quickly. Have you already read through this, Tyler, or do you? Because I mean, if I haven't read through this myself, you know how this show works. But if you've already read through this, and if you feel like it would make more sense just to probe you instead of going through this word by word, you let me know. But otherwise, we'll just go through it and kind of talk as we go.
I've read it, but I think it's good for you to go through it. I mean, it's your show. You figure out have you read it?
No, I have not read it.
Then I'm not going to do it justice because I did it and I was thinking of doing breaking down all this stuff, and I haven't done it. But I see the arguing in the chat. There's some Tracy stands. There's some Mel stands.
I'm not even going to get into the pedantics of it, to be honest. I'm just going to point out what she said. It's just way too in the weeds. That's kind of my whole point. So
yes, there you go.
So, yeah, and I think you guys will see. Which I mean, whatever. I don't think it's that big of a deal. We'll see though, from my understanding, because I have seen Mel talk on it a little bit too. I haven't read the thread, but I've seen this needled around in different mediums. This is Mel. It can be hard to know where to start when you set out to debunk a mountain of hogwash like the one found in Michael Tracy's latest article on Daryl Cooper. Which, for those who aren't aware, which maybe he'll get into that. Actually, I'll finish reading this and then I'll give. I don't blame Cooper for refusing to engage Tracy in his questions. It's an exhausting task to pick through bad faith hit pieces like that. And if I had just lost a family member, I sure as heck wouldn't do it. But since I wasn't particularly busy this week, and since I was especially enraged at the smarmy, deceitful way Tracy tried to both smear Cooper and rewrite the history in the Epstein case, I said, meh, somebody's got to respond, may as well be me. So without further ado, let's go. This is long. My apologies up front. He says, no, I do not know Daryl, and I've never communicated with him anyway. I took this task on of my own volition, and nothing I post should be viewed as me attempting to answer for Daryl Cooper. Which, to be fair, then I think Daryl did point to this thread and say, hey, she did a pretty good job breaking it down. I'm not going to break it down. Although I think he then later did break it down. And now Tracy's responded to that, which I'm not going to cover that. But he did kind of, from my understanding, basically take the position Mel is about to put out here, which I don't want to get too far in the weeds. But anyways, I will go a little bit into, Mel pointed out a little bit the idea of essentially how Tracy interacted with Cooper here. I guess this story is supposedly... Tracy wrote a piece on him. He sent emails over to Tracy or to Cooper, or Tracy wrote a piece. He sent emails over to Cooper. He bugged, text, whatever, blah, blah, like trying to get his response. Cooper responded, say, I have a death in the family. And then, it was like, hey, I don't know if he said I'll get back to you later or whatever. I think he was then being super pushy, and he basically gave him the equivalent of a polite fuck off. Here's my comment, no comment, which I totally get. And then I guess later he changed his mind. I did respond to it, but did kind of defer to Mel. But point being is it's pretty gross. Tracy then went on multiple shows, even with like putting titles of it, like of stuff of like, why isn't he answering or whatever, essentially casting like, why is he, always scared? He must answer me, blah, blah, blah. While this guy's literally preparing a eulogy for some loved one in his family. So pretty fucking wild behavior. And he was aware of this, according to Cooper, to be fair. So that's the context there. But he had put out a piece on Daryl. I believe most of this is on kind of into the stuff that he covered on Scott's show, which I did watch the episode. It's pretty interesting. In Michael Tracy's latest edition of Shoot the Messenger, he sets his sights on podcaster Gerald Cooper. Specifically, Tracy honed in on Cooper's 3-hour July 18th interview with Tucker Carlson. I was wrong. It's the Tucker one, I guess. In which Cooper laid out in meticulous detail the Epstein case and subsequent government cover-up. Tracy's article opens quickly the 2:35 mark where he quotes Cooper as saying, "And eventually a federal judge found," Cooper says, making a point to underscore the emphasis. "These are the words of the federal judge, that the government had engaged in a conspiracy with Jeffrey Epstein to make this deal. This illegitimate, illegal deal. As a result, Cooper claims the deal had been judiciously stricken." That was all Tracy needed to pounce. What? Judge Mara never accused Epstein and the government of conspiring. And to his credit, Tracy is correct. Judge Mara did not use the word conspired in his ruling. And then she shared an excerpt here. Cooper was possibly referring to February 21st, 2019 ruling by District Court Judge Kenneth A. Mara, who found that the federal government had violated the Crime Victims' Rights Act, CVRA, by not providing what the judge deemed sufficient advance notice to victims ahead of Epstein's state-level guilty plea in Florida on June 30th, 2008. But Mara never accused the government of conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein. In quotes. And this is from from Tracy's, by the way, the excerpt. But let's take a look at what Judge Mara did say. The office did not consult or confer with any of the victims about the MPA before it was signed. Epstein's counsel was aware that the office was deliberately keeping the NPA secret from the victims and indeed had sought assurances to that effect. After the MPA was signed, Epstein's counsel in the office began negotiations about whether the victims would be told about the MPA. It was a deviation from the government's standard practice to negotiate with defense counsel about the extent of crimes victims' notifications. She then shares, what specific, I'm assuming, bylines of laws to uphold something she said there about the MPA. Stop me at any time, Tyler. You're the lawyer here, so you might have more.
This is good. And so the screenshot she has here, it looks like it's the ruling that the judge did. So she highlights what the judge is actually saying. That's what I would say.
I'm just an idiot, doesn't understand legal stuff. So there you go. That makes sense. So this is a ruling from the judge. I mean, it kind of looked like some sort of legal. So I assume maybe it was like a. Anyways. Then she just shared a GIF of Justin Timberlake looking sarcastically. She says,
read
"Hey,
what the judge said there." So in green, highlight.
Oh yeah, let's go ahead and read that. This is what the judge had to say. A good point. It says the office did not consult or confer with any of the victims about the MPA before it was signed. Epstein's counsel was aware that the office was deliberately keeping the NPA secret from the victims and indeed had sought assurances to that effect. After the MPA was signed, Epstein's counsel and the office began negotiations about whether the victims would be told about the NPA. It was a deviation for the government's standard practice to negotiate with defense counsel about the extent of crime victim notifications. And then this is where we get into her subsequent post. It says, "Alexa, what's the definition of expire or of conspire? It's 1, to agree together, especially secretly, to do something wrong, evil, or illegal. 2, to act or work together toward the same result or goal." And then so Mel says, "So no, Judge Mara did not explicitly write that Epstein and the U.S. Attorney's Office conspired, and Daryl should have used different phrasing, but Mara absolutely did find that the government and Epstein's counsel worked together in secret to keep the NPA from Epstein's victim." And if I recall correctly, maybe I'm wrong here, so go check it out on your own. I'm not going to go rewatch all this stuff because that's ridiculous. But I'm pretty sure if I recall, his phrasing was also in a way that it was like, it wasn't. Didn't necessarily have to take it as a direct quote. I think you could have almost took it as a paraphrase, but it was clunky phrasing. So yeah, I guess he should have been more clear. But which leads us to the second part of Marta's ruling and Tracy's argument against Cooper. Did Mara's February 2019 ruling throw out the MPA and allow for Epstein's new prosecution? Short answer, no, but also yes, kinda. Judge Mara issued a partial summary judgment ruling the CVRA had been violated. He then ordered both parties to submit additional briefs regarding the appropriate remedies for that violation. IOW, Judge Mara kicked the barn door open, but he didn't open the horse stalls. So, I don't know, is there anything in here you think's worthwhile? To be honest,
Yes.
I don't really.
We're reading the thread. Let's read it all.
Yeah, it says on February 21st, 2019, the district court granted the CVRA case petitioner's motion for partial summary judgment, ruling that the government violated the CVRA in failing to advise the victims about its intention to enter into the MPA. The court also found that letters the government sent to victims after the MPA was signed, describing the investigations ongoing, mislead the victims to believe that federal prosecution was still a possibility. The court also highlighted the inequity of the USAO's failure to communicate with the victims, while at the same time engaging in lengthy negotiations with Epstein's counsel and assuring the defense that the MPA would not be made public or filed with the court. The court ordered the parties to submit additional briefs regarding the appropriate remedies. After the court's order, the department recused the USAO from the CVRA litigation and assigned the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Georgia to handle the case for the government. Among the remedies sought by the petitioners and opposed by the government was rescission of the MPA and federal prosecution of Epstein. So, is Mara's ruling the reason why the Southern District of New York, just 5 months later, filed new grand jury charges against Epstein, some of which were the exact same charges as the original 2007 case, which up to that point had been covered by the MPA? Of course. And yes, I know all about the government's argument, the MPA only applying to the government district of Florida. For the record, I am vehemently opposed to the government's argument on that. But that doesn't explain why the government waited to file new charges until after Mara's ruling, if they could have apparently done it all along. But now let's move on. Next, we come to one of Tracy's favorite lines. The only time Alex Acosta was ever asked directly about Epstein being an intelligence asset, he said the answer is no. And then here is a professional responsibility report on Epstein. This is where this claim comes from. It contains the only direct on-record under oath statement from Acosta addressing Epstein's purported ties to intelligence. Asked if he had knowledge that Epstein was an intelligence asset at the time of the Florida plea negotiations, Acosta replied under penalty of injury, the answer is no. So, okay, there's just one problem. That wasn't the only time Acosta was asked that question directly. He was asked that very same question on July 10th, 2019, after Epstein's arrest, and his answer was not no. It was instead an awkward mix of nervous giggles and a total non-answer, to which I think you guys do need to watch this. Because it is, I watched this earlier. I did scroll through this earlier and saw some minor things. I saw this, I watched this, because it is I was interested about this. Let's watch it.
Respect to that particular paragraph. One more question.
Richard Lardner from the Associated Press. Mr. Secretary, were you ever made aware at any point your handling of this case if Mr. Epstein was an intelligence asset of some sort?
So there has been reporting to that effect, and let me say. There's been reporting to a lot of effects in this case, not just now, but over the years. And again, I would hesitate to take this reporting as fact. This was a case that was brought by our office. It was brought based on the facts. And I look at that reporting and others. I can't address it directly because of our guidelines. But I can tell you that a lot of reporting is just going down rabbit holes. A few more questions. Have you asked?
What do you think, Tyler? Was that a no?
Yeah, it was a non-answer, and so
yeah,
one people are going to say, see, he didn't say no, but I mean, why not?
Yeah,
anyway,
I mean,
it's
a
lawyerly answer.
Yeah, it's a lawyerly answer. It's I don't want to say no. Mel says one odd way to answer when, according to the statement given by Acosta after Epstein was dead and no longer able to testify, the truth was a simple no, but I digress. Next, we come to the most egregious of Mr. Tracy's claims in his article. It was, in fact, Alex Acosta who federally interceded and secured real justice in the case to begin with. Without him, Epstein would have walked. So this is from his piece. It says the context of that fabled belonged to intelligence quote makes little sense to begin with when you think about it for 5 minutes. Because Acosta did not, in fact, leave Epstein alone over the course of the 2007 to 2008 plea negotiations, which I'm pretty sure that he was actually in Israel during that time, if I recall correctly. Anyways, rather he federally interceded in what up to that point had been a localized Palm Beach prosecution and imposed a federal backstop whereby Epstein was compelled to plead guilty to 2 state-level charges, which, among other things, required Epstein to register for life as a sex offender. Acosta insisted on his resolution over the vehement objectives of Epstein's high-powered defense counsel, who had tried every possible tactic to thwart Acosta's involvement, including by appealing all the way to the senior-level echelons of the Justice Department in Washington, D.C., and they failed. Acosta got Epstein to register as a sex offender. If there had been no intercession by Acosta and the case had been left solely to the Palm Beach County District Attorney, it is likely that Epstein would have never had to register as a sex offender at all, because the state-level offense for which he'd already been indicted on July 19, 2006 was a single felony solicitation and prostitution charge. On its own, this would not have required him to register as a sex offender. And then Mel says, I beg your pardon. She says the federal case against Jeffrey Epstein began with an FBI investigation following referral from the Palm Beach Police Department over shoddy handling of the case by the State Department's office. The FBI identified 20 victims between the ages of 14 and 17 and took the case to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida. Assistant U.S. Attorney Anne Marie Villafana took the case and spent months investigating it, ultimately drawing up a 60-count indictment. She also attached a 52-page prosecution summary for her boss, Alex Acosta, who then inserted himself in her case, drew up the mother of all sweetheart deals for Jeffrey Epstein, and swept hundreds of cases of sexual assault on minors under the rug. And why did Acosta do this? Because Epstein's lawyers literally sought him out. Villafana already knew what was going to happen. She even tried to stop it, but peer/political/professional pressure won out. Now here's some excerpts she shared from something else. I'm just going to read the highlighted portions. You can read on your own in your thread if you want. Dang it. Come here. It says, Lori forwarded the letter to Menschel and Sloman, but noted that Epstein's defense team was really ready for the next level. Rather than another meeting with him, Lori suggested that Menschel meet with defense counsel, adding, whether Alex would be present or grant them another meeting after that is his call. And then going on, no, this is, who's this from? Villafana. No, this is Villafana. I'm just going to read the whole message instead of just the highlighted portions. That'd be weird since this is from a quote. This is something she sent a draft to her immediate supervisors, I guess. Hi, Jeff and Matt. I just want to again voice my disagreement with promising to have a meeting or having a meeting with Left Court or any other of Epstein's attorneys. As I mentioned, this is not a case where we will be sitting down to negotiate whether a defendant will serve 1 year versus 2 years of probation. This is a case where the defendant is facing the possibility of dozens of years of prison time. Just as a defense that will defend a case like that differently than they would handle a probation type case, we need to handle this case differently. Part of our prosecution strategy was already disclosed at the last meeting, and I am concerned that more will be disclosed at a future meeting. That's big. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but that sounds big to me if they're giving out their prosecution strategy to the defense. My co-chair, who was prosecuted more of these cases than the rest of us combined, and who actually worked on the drafting of some of the child exploitation statutes, also opposed the meeting. We've been accused of not being strategic thinkers because of our opposition to these meetings, but we are simply looking at this case as a violent crime prosecution involving stiff penalties rather than as a white-collar or public corruption case where the parties can amicably work out a light sentence. With respect to the policy reasons that Lefkart wants to discuss, those were already raised in his letter, which is part of the indictment package and during his meeting with Andy and myself. Those reasons are he wants the petite policy to trump our ability to prosecute Epstein. This shouldn't be, or 2, this shouldn't be a federal offense, and 3, the victims were willing participants, so the crime shouldn't be prosecuted at all. Jesus Christ. That one's rough. Talking about children. Unless the office thinks that any of those arguments will be persuasive, a meeting will not be beneficial to the prosecution. It will only benefit the defense. With respect to Lefkart's promised legal analysis, that also has already been provided. The only way to get initial analysis is to expose to the defense the other charges that we are considering. In my opinion, this would seriously undermine the prosecution. The defense is anxious to have a meeting in order to delay the investigation/prosecution to find out more about our investigation and to use political pressure to stop the investigation. I have no control over the office's decision regarding whether to meet with the defense or to whom the facts and analysis of the case will be disclosed. However, if you all do decide to go forward with these meetings in a way that is detrimental to the investigation, then I will have to ask to have the case reassigned to an AUSA who is in agreement with the handling of the case. After receiving this draft, the immediate supervisor cautioned Villafana, let's talk before this is sent, please. Villafana told OPR, okay, never mind, I misread it earlier. Apparently she was saying this up to somebody else, but she had her immediate supervisor look it over. Before she believed the USAO was preparing to file charges against Epstein despite agreeing to accommodate the defense request for meetings. Oh shit, I accidentally jumped ahead of a few sentences. My bad, let me start over. After receiving the draft, the immediate supervisor cautioned Villafana, let's talk before this is sent, please. Villafana told OPR that the supervisor counseled Villafana not to send the email to Sloman or Menschel because Villafania could be viewed as insubordinate. She also told Villafania that if Villafania did not stay with the case would go away and Epstein would never serve a day in jail. Villafania told OPR that at the point in time, she believed the USA was preparing to file charges against Epstein despite agreeing to accommodate the defense request for meetings. She also told OPR, on the other hand, that she feared the USAO was going down the same path the state's attorney office had gone down. Whew. All right, I think we're getting near the end, sort of. Okay. Sorry, this is a lot, and I know Tyler hasn't talked a lot. Any thoughts as we keep going?
I'll maybe save them for the end there, but it does appear what Tracy's point was, but look, they got him to register as a sex offender. And then, but for, that, now Villafana, it sounds like she's like, okay, registering as a sex offender isn't really the issue here. It's prosecuting him for all these crimes he's been doing, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to, this seems like to me how we're looking here. And she wasn't going soft on it. She was concerned about how her own internal departments were working on this.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I see a bunch of you guys here today. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I mean, maybe you've noticed this too, Tyler. I don't know if it feels like YouTube's at like the wind's at my back lately. I do not know what's going on. It's been good for me. I mean, it's weird.
It's not good for me.
Okay, well, maybe I'm just crushing. I'm just like, what is going on? I guess people are just. I don't know. It's weird. I don't trust it. I'm like, why do number go up? Stop. But it's weird. I'm freaked out.
I will
not that it's even that up, but hit like button. That's my point. But go on.
I've told you this before, which is I need a morning show, right? I want something, and you have been providing that. So
people are catching on.
Yeah, there you go. And it's not morning for everybody else. It's still morning for me.
Yeah. No. All right. Let's keep going on this. How dare Michael Tracy pretend that Alex Acosta is some kind of hero in this story? What the hell is he trying to do here? What could possibly be his motivation for this? I'll leave speculation for another time because it's already too long and I've still got one more point. Last but certainly not least, we come to probably the most bizarre point of the whole article when talking about the surveillance video on the night that Epstein died. For this, Michael decides to quote good old Bill Barr from his 2022 memoir. By the way, Bill Barr, now this is from the excerpt from Tracy's, excerpt from his article. It says, by the way, Bill Barr, the Attorney General in office when Epstein died, had also told us, in quotes, that there was no video footage available from inside Epstein's prison unit. In his 2022 book, One Damn Thing After Another, Barr wrote, a video camera inside the unit was not functioning that night, but a separate video camera located in the common area had clear coverage of the officer's desk area, the open stairs, and the gated entryway. I personally reviewed that video footage. It shows conclusively that between the time Epstein was locked in his cell at 7:49 p.m. on the night of August 9th and the time he was discovered the next morning on 6:30 a.m., no one entered his tier. There's just one problem. Bill Barr was lying, and we know that because of the video released by the FBI on July 29th. A third person did enter the cell block. And then she shared an article here. It says, mysterious orange shape spotted near Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell the night before his death. Report, because you can see a person right there. It says orange, just repeats it. Yeah, I mean, I think I covered that forever ago. Here's Mel. It says, so much for your books and Inspector General reports. Podcasters were right again. And so she shared an excerpt from his thing again. Says, yeah, I know. Why waste time with boring stuff like books or Inspector General reports when you can vegetate in front of a 3-hour podcast and be imparted with all the hallowed research you've been pining for? And then here's another excerpt from Mel. It says, a CBS News analysis of the video the FBI made public earlier this month reveals the recording doesn't provide a clear view of the entrance to Epstein's cell block, one of several contradictions between officials' description of the video and the video itself. CBS also digitally reconstructed the shoe where Epstein was held using diagrams and descriptions from the 2023 report on Epstein released by the Justice Department Inspector General. The CBS News review found the video does little to provide evidence to support claims that were later made by federal officials. Additionally, CBS News has identified multiple inconsistencies between that report and the video that raised serious questions about the accuracy of witness statements and thoroughness of the government's investigation. And if you like this, go follow Mel. Go follow her on Twitter at Village Crazy Lady. The first A in Village, there is no A there, so VILLGE. But go follow her. Also go follow her. What's it called? I catch you in the live stream sometimes. What's the name of her show?
Yeah, that's good question.
I forget.
It was just there yesterday.
I feel bad. I'm going to click on her profile. It'll say it previously prohibited. I think people should go follow that. It's like criminally underfollowed, I think. I don't know what is going on there, but yeah, it should have more followers. Mel's great, and then Janine's seems like a sweetheart and seems really knowledgeable too, the co-host. So
yeah, Janine has taken on a case, an appeal, which I just covered on my show this last week, which was, or a week ago, whenever it was, about a flag incident between an Israeli and maybe you saw stuff online where they're like, oh my God, it's illegal to burn the Israeli flag now, right? Did you see those kind of things? So
yeah, I saw that.
I looked into it. That's not what it was about. But anyway, she's now taking on the appeal that was lost in the civil preliminary injunction. So that's an interesting little aspect there. Let me talk about this Michael Tracy stuff real quick. Okay,
let's do it.
Because Michael Tracy then goes on with Thaddeus Russell, and I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched
I have that clip ready to go after this.
Okay, do you want to play that, or do you want me to?
Well, I mean, I was gonna let you give some commentary before you brought it on, because I felt like that was kind of that's the silver bullet, kind of, in my opinion.
Okay.
So,
and maybe a different one than what I saw. What I saw, Michael Tracy's like, look, he's wrong. You say he's wrong, and Thaddeus is like, okay, yeah. He's like, well, then it brings into question everything he does. Now, I've made that point about Phil, what's his name? I don't know, some person, Safadine Amus. He wrote a book, and he's just completely wrong about some stuff, and I'm like, it makes you wonder about his research or his abilities. Was he lying? I don't know. Maybe he was. The difference to this is, though, if you're writing something and you're putting it down in a book, your research and your quoting should be spot on. When you're on a podcast talking about some things, I give some leeway for, some misquoting, right? A little bit of things, because you can go and look at those sources yourself. Typically in the book, you quote it and it's a little bit there. I've done a big thing on Leo Frank and talking about the trial, the appeals. Yeah, and I just did another one with NDS, and going off a little bit more. And sometimes you're like, I want to make sure, go and look at it yourself, right? I could be a little off on this, but it's the idea. And I think that's where Michael Tracy's trying to get a gotcha here on Daryl Cooper, which is, it wasn't conspired. And I know there's a guy in the thing here that's really, taken off. And now Whitney Webb is the subject of Michael Tracy, and there's all this stuff. I don't know. I haven't really dug into some of this, but I get that you want to. There's got to be a reason why you're trying to vilify a Daryl Cooper. I talked about this before, which is now you see the Gaza situation where they're starving, right? And the reason they had to go after Daryl Cooper about the World War II stuff before was because in World War II, he's like, look, there was a Holocaust, but they also starved people, and that's part of that. And they're like, it's genocide. You got to. So now when they go and talk about their own thing, right? Now it's a problem because you are starving people. And you can't equate those. So you've got to vilify him on one side so he's not credible on this thing that you're doing yourself. I don't know what Michael Tracy's point is, or if it's for clicks, shits and giggles, or whatnot. There's in law, we have errors that are material and not material, right? You can say, hey, that lady's dress was red. And you're like, well, it was white. Ha. But it's like, okay, but does it have anything to do with the case? Maybe it has nothing to do with the case. So you can be, a little bit incorrect on some of these things. So I would say on Daryl Cooper's, once again, does this Acosta stuff, does this thing down there in Florida, is this the crux of the Epstein case? Was it shit in the one way? Was it conspiring? There's enough there that you could go, okay, something's odd here. And I think that the thread that goes throughout this is there were people, powerful people. Remember, that's what the lady said here about Epstein. It wasn't that he was associated with CIA, although the powerful people were the marks, right? The CIA was who was getting that info for it. So that's stupid as well. You have a thread that goes through there, which is there's just a little bit of leniency for Epstein all the way along. And I think that's the important part to get through this, at least in my opinion. But anyway, there you go.
Yeah. All right, I do have that video. I think this will probably be the last thing we play today. This will be what finishes it up for today. But this is Mel found it later. I didn't watch the whole video because no, that's stupid. But I mean, if I really did want to get the specifics of all this, I would have to do everything. Because the problem is, it feels like through all this is it's like overburdening with excessive information. To which, to some extent, I get it. Like, you do want to be. It is good to read books and read primary sources and stuff. But like, you get to a point where you're becoming pedantic, and it also seems to be we're getting to a point to where we're requiring a ridiculous level of a threshold of evidence. But then when it's against you, not so much. So I don't know. It just seems a little ridiculous to me as a game here, and it seems odd. And that's not to say it doesn't have points here and there, but it's like I don't know. Have you even tried reading any of his like responses? They're fucking exhausting. I don't even know how people
Tracy's or Cooper's?
Tracy's. Like they're just exhausting.
I start to read it and then I'm just like I'm not that interested.
Yeah, your eyes glaze over and you're like, dude, what am I reading 4 pages on that he got like he sourced the wrong person 3 years ago or something? Like, okay. So, all right, let's go watch this. This is he was recently on with Thad, which I do think it's interesting the role what Thad is, or not even, maybe that's not the fair to say what Thad is. The let's say the ringer he's been run through in the past. I mean, you know what I'm getting at, Tyler. This still comes up now. He said some incredibly dicey stuff about pedophilia in the past.
By the way,
incredibly.
This is the clip I saw, and I started it, and when he started to go down that route, I'm just like, okay, I think I'm done watching this clip. So are you going to play?
We're playing it. We're playing it, baby.
Okay.
I mean, although I don't think in this 5 minutes I watched all of it, I don't remember him getting too into that. Like, we're not going to like debate age of consent there. I don't think, did he? Not in this 5 minutes. I only have a 5 minute clip. Maybe he in the episode, it's almost, maybe in the episode, at other point he does. I don't remember this being here, but let's go ahead.
I wanted to get your reaction because you're one of the people who sort of catalyzed me to even do this in the first place. So if Daryl Cooper has an issue, then
that's what I was referring to earlier. You're the one who catalyzed me. I think that's important. But now I wanted to provide the audience of like the ringer that Thad has gone through in the past, because I do think that's important context here. Although I think he might have a point. Although I will admit there was one of the podcasts of Thad that was in contention that I didn't watch. But I remember when this was a thing back in the day that he said some wild stuff. I watched every single one of them except for one. Whenever that I found out about the one that after that, I was exhausted on digging into his controversial statements. Because I was like, before I like lambasted this guy, although I'm like, you may seem like I'm quick to jump to pedophile, I was not one of the people who jumped on the. I
wasn't either.
Yeah, I mean,
partly because I had listened to a bunch of his stuff. He did a show with a guy that was basically, it was all about like Romeo and Juliet laws. Okay, which I mean, think about it. You know, I've got a 19-year-old son. If he's dating a 17-year-old, or when
he's a pedophile.
18, right, and that's. I'm sorry, but that's I'm
sorry you raised a pedophile, Tyler.
Well, the like father, like son, right? Because
it's not funny, man.
Right. So I think that is something that needs to really be exposed. And in that, he does explain that he's not into a 19-year-old and a 7-year-old. I mean, there's a big gradation.
Yeah.
I mean, and you do have to have a line somewhere. But I understand anyway. So
the uncomfortable conversation that he was having was that there is no magic number, and I know a lot of people get uncomfortable and squirrely about that because they like to imagine that whatever their ideology is has incredibly objective standards that they can point to perfectly. But I'm sorry, that's especially with something like age of consent, you don't have that. And that's by no means me making any sort of case for blurring the lines there. If anything, I'm making the case as parents, do your job, because my perspective is like at the end of the day, what it really comes down to, you're the last thing. So at the end of the day, the age of consent is in an objective sense is the age at which you will not do violence for someone for that. Like that is the age. Whatever that is for you, that's on you. For me, I guess that is roughly about 18 for my kid. And I guess if I do find out my kid's got a 19-year-old boyfriend, then maybe I won't kill him.
Right.
So, and I don't have an objective standard there. So be it.
but you know what? If I have an 18-year-old and for some reason I don't like they're in my house, I might be just anyway. Let's go on from that.
Yeah, so I just think that's important too, because that is, and I think because that's what I was trying to get at earlier. I think he might have a small underlying point, and there is something to the idea, which he's going to get into, that your critical faculties can get shut down. And I understand where Thad is coming from because he has experienced that. But I do think it's. But you do see Thad jumps to his credit, kind of jumps that train real quick. So because it seems Tracy tries to use it against him.
He has partially you to blame, and I notice he hasn't been tweeting for the past 2 days.
What do you want me to say? What do you want me to react to? To what?
To any of that. To what do you make of it?
I think you're right and he's wrong about this.
What does it tell us about Daryl Cooper?
See, that's why, man? Like, this is about Epstein. It's not about Daryl Cooper.
No, but my article this week was about Daryl Cooper.
I know, but again,
You read it,
why?
right?
But why? Yes, I did. But why focus
So
on?
I want to talk about that a little bit.
But why focus on the mythologists rather than?
Doesn't this come off as weird? Like, there's no
Yeah.
way I can't see this as weird and pushy.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, if you've watched Tracy, though, I mean, he'll
Yeah.
go, which I've actually enjoyed him on some stuff, like the debates, like the presidential debates. He goes in there and in the back area and he just works both sides. So he's really pushy and annoying like that.
Yeah.
But, at some point you're like, okay, fucking back off.
I mean, maybe it is just his thing. And we're reading too much into it, but it feels like this is the revelation. You know what I mean? Like, this is the angle. This is attacking credibility, and there's certain laundry lists of people that are being targeted, particularly by him lately.
Why?
And yeah, exactly why. I mean, I don't like to. I mean, I say I don't like to. I do like to kind of speculate a little bit, but I will be honest. That is speculation, but I know we have a big why here, and the only thing that can really answer it is a direct admission from him or mind reading. So I don't know. I guess we got to do a little bit of guessing, but just with the honesty of that we don't know for sure. So
I tried to point out to him because he doesn't respond to me when he tweets, but he was like, I got you on Daryl Cooper. And I'm like, you literally posted a thing about burned babies and it's still there. So we can continue to play this game. Now, if Daryl Cooper comes out and says, look, these were mistakes. Here's the correct then, okay, where are we at now? Are you saying Epstein wasn't a problem?
yeah, and that's a good point. I've seen the burned babies thing, because it's like, I wouldn't say if he had thrown out the burned babies thing like once or twice that he would be completely, you could never point to his stuff at all. I mean, Aguilar brought up the burned babies. You remember him? The whistleblower, the GHF whistleblower. He brought that up before. He believes in that. So do I discredit everything about him? To be fair, he's not a researcher or whatever. But I guess the point being is just it's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess you would prefer your person later come out and go, oh, I repeated these things later, and now I realize I had no. But most people don't do that unless there's some reason to. But point being is that it doesn't dispute all of this stuff. Now, if it was something he flagrantly repeated over and over and over again, can you do it, double down, similar such thing? Sure, you can notice a pattern. But people are people. But let's keep going.
On
Because I want to. I think it's interesting. I think it's.
But I don't
notable.
know. I can't see inside of his head. Again,
I'm not asking you to get inside his head. I'm asking you to just react to everything anything I just told you, anything in the article, anything.
It's disappointing.
Is it because you're such good friends with him, you don't want to be seen as criticizing him? Really? Is that the problem?
So I don't know Whitney Webb or Ryan Dawson at all, and I have the same feelings about them. I think it's disappointing.
We talked about Whitney Webb a bunch last time.
I know, but I'm saying I don't know her, so I have no reason to protect her.
But you know Daryl Cooper.
Yeah.
So you have reason to protect him?
No, I think they're all wrong. I haven't said anything other than that about Whitney Webb.
But like expand. Like, what does it tell you that like he had all these huge flaws in his presentation on Tucker, that he's a Pizzagate obsessive, that he apparently did not do any basic research, that despite being one of the OG supposed Epstein researchers in the Epstein space, et cetera. Like, what do you make of all of it?
Okay, well, I think that not only, I don't think, I know that the issue or just the idea of pedophilia, sex with children,
see, he can't
tends to make.
Who's that? Yeah. Well, that was what we getting earlier. He's not wrong though. Like that is something that people. So I get where maybe there is a role for something like a. But the thing is, like, I guess if anything, I feel like Michael Tracy kind of missed the boat. I kind of almost a better example would be the Thad one earlier. Like if he had come to Thad's rescue back then, which maybe he did, I don't know, that would have made more sense than Epstein, where it's like, I don't know, all of these things are incredibly documented. And I mean, sure, we're at the point where we're just he's slapping down, he's trying to find minute details, and then he's then extrapolating from there, seemingly that clearly trying to destroy people's reputations is seemingly the angle. I don't know, it's just bizarre to me. And then I did want to point out, you brought out all the different people being attacked earlier. One thing that's left out, which I know you probably, I don't know where you're at on this, honestly, and I don't even know where I'm at on this. This is another one of those characters I'm just suspicious of. Michael Tracy worked for Glenn Greenwald. Glenn Greenwald also recently, for some reason, stirred up the old controversy with him and Whitney. So that's interesting. I don't know what to make of that, but he is Tracy's boss. Although he has publicly, he's kind of somewhat, I guess you could say, distanced himself from Tracy's crusade. So, but at the same time, he's choosing now to poke at that. Also, I do find it bizarre looking retroactively at that the weird blackmail fucking shit that he had a while ago, and then when you look into the details and find out, oh yeah, that was some shit he produced when he was with some other porn producers way back in the day. You're like, I'm not entirely sure if this is what I think it is. Yeah. So. I don't know. Just makes you realize there might be a lot more going on that we don't know. So
here's my Whitney Webb stuff, which is I see her on things and she bores me, and she seems super, super whiny. She is the type that if you don't credit her and her minions, they all come out. So at some point I'm like, oh, let me dig into this. Then I'm like, I don't care. Yeah, maybe she's right. Maybe she's not. I don't know. The Daryl Cooper, I tend to think he even said on Tucker, hey, Ryan Dawson's the OG. So, Tracy wants to portray him as that, but he's willingly said, I'm not the person. And then he had Dawson on for multiple, hours on a time. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah. All right, let's finish this. Probably won't finish it. We'll probably stop a couple more times.
Many people, especially, and this is interesting. We did talk about this last time.
By the way, feel free to let me know if you have something to pipe in.
Especially people on the right, broadly speaking, lose their critical faculties. Be very willing and able to engage quickly in Me Too type conspiracy theories with little to no evidence, as you have shown. So this is not the first time I've seen this kind of thing, right? I'm well aware, especially on the right.
This isn't just some random right-wing person. This is supposedly one of the foremost Epstein researchers who was brought on to Tucker as like the foremost expert on the internet.
Okay, so what are you getting? Like, what's? Is this
I'm just like, what does it tell you? I mean, what does it tell you about his?
I just explained it.
Credibility and whatnot.
It's not great on this issue, although
you don't think it diminishes his credibility at all, like in general.
Like should we not take his podcast on?
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
I don't know. I mean,
if I made up a fake quote from a federal judge on a podcast in front of millions of people, I would hope that you would.
Do you feel like that's a fair characterization? I've seen a lot of people arguing back and forth. Do you feel like that's a fair characterization of what he did?
No, and once again, if he was writing this in a Substack and he didn't say the exact quote like Mel did, I would be like, okay, he didn't say conspire. That is a little bit suspect. But when he's on there and he's the word means exactly what happened. Now, maybe Tracy's going back to saying the MPA wasn't thrown out or whatnot. There seems to be some whatever about that. Once again, you're on a podcast. Go verify this stuff. I guarantee you, if Michael Tracy or if he had taken his inquiries more seriously, Daryl Cooper had, he would have come back and said, oh yeah. Well, this was the context. Because I have seen Daryl backtrack many times to explain what he means and to make sure that it's specific. I'm a Daryl Cooper stan. You're not going to get me.
How many times have you said there's a quote that says, or you said it in a way and you're not meaning like literally the quote, but you're like something along those lines, and perhaps you should have been more tidy in your speech and said this is a paraphrase, not a literal quote. But sometimes the way you say it, you're just kind of like, no one would expect me to know the exact quote here.
Yeah.
So
Austin Picard gets away with that, but I don't know the other people.
Yeah, just take his word for it. Fuck it.
Scott Horton. I mean, when he spits out a quote, you're like, probably right.
Well, I mean, even the way, if I recall correctly, the way he delivered that quote was something along those lines. Like it was almost like a colloquialism. I might be wrong, and in the sense that it wasn't like a. You could interpret it as him saying this is an exact quote, or you could interpret it as meaning, hey, someone said a thing, and this is kind of what they said. But all right, let's keep going this.
So here's the other thing I think you should, and this is, I don't know if it's being fair to him or something, but I mean, you have to understand that.
How much fairer can I be?
Listen, I think that Dawson, Webb, and Cooper have been operating in a massive ecosystem that agrees with every word they say.
Sure.
They've had no reason, right, from their audience and even the broader audience, right, the general public generally agrees with them. And so they've had no reason to go back and fact check everything. If they hear that Epstein diddled a 14-year-old in 2000, whatever, they don't need to check that because they already know, right? Because everyone's telling them and everyone believes this is a collective consciousness about Epstein.
That's the point I was driving at. That's a good point right there. There have been multiple times where I do think there is something to when you see Michael Tracy or something. Maybe not every little point. It's hard to make a value judgment when and where is the appropriate time, but there definitely are times, and I think that's what I try to make this show be, where there are certain claims where you go, okay, well, let's go look into those claims. What do we have here? Maybe I don't always get down to the nitty gritty of the exact primary sources, but we at least try to investigate the claims a little bit, because I do think there is something to that. Because especially with something like an Epstein, it does get fast and loose, and people will be like, oh yeah, this whistleblower or this a victim or this thing or that thing, and then you get into and you're like, okay, well this was. Okay, well maybe this isn't quite that. You're like, okay, there was a 13-year-old. In fact, it was but they're anonymous, and this is a claim against Anyways, people don't always understand the specifics. So it is a fair point, and then they do just kind of get grouped in this amalgamation of a concept, and they just kind of get uncritically accepted. And I get why people do it. And you're dealing with mass amounts of information all at once. So, but yeah, it is useful to dig into those claims, and I think that is correct in the sense of being critical of them. But it just almost feels like then Michael Tracy took that as like an opportunity to run with it. If anything, I almost found it weird that he insisted on implying Thad, like this was due to him or whatever, which it very well may have. But it just feels to me like it was almost like he was intentionally pinning blame on him. And I don't know. It feels like an intel thing where you aggrandize a relationship or you overemphasize something, or I don't know. It seemed like almost like a coy or an attempt to try to draw Thad into his position more, and it seemed to backfire. Let's see.
Yeah, so it's just an echo chamber.
Were you gonna say something?
I've had that. And you kind of saw that with the Alex Stein thing that you played earlier, which is some other party is, according to, I'm putting myself in the Tracy camp here, which is he found something that was really wrong, and he, oh my God, this is his gotcha. And to me, it's not material. It's not. It's wrong, but it's not. It's not necessarily untruthful. Okay. So, and there could be an explanation, and there could be a backtracking, and then it doesn't change the whole thread. But he's like you don't understand how wrong this guy is. And so he wants other people to know that. And so he's insistent on it, and he won't see the light of day. And Thad is a friend. So now he's got this platform. He wants to push this out. I get where he's coming in on that. I just think it's sorry you spent so much time, Michael Tracy, doing this, but here we are.
But yeah, your buddy ain't with you here.
Yeah.
We all know collectively that Jeffrey Epstein was a pedo, and therefore, of course, he fucked a 14-year-old. And so there's no reason to check on that. And to check, and then further.
Don't we have a big problem here then?
So it's yes. Oh, well, we have a massive cultural problem.
He's part of the problem, right?
He's contributing to it. Yes, I think.
He can't help himself.
Part of it.
Now, he and I have.
I mean, if you go to YouTube right now and type in, and you want some of this material on Epstein, he's one of his podcast with Tucker Carlson has 2.3 million views.
I know. So Daryl and I have actually, about 4 or 5 years ago, we actually did go back and forth a little bit on this specific issue, not Epstein, but about sex trafficking and pedophilia, whatever. And I could see then that that was in the midst of the grooming hysteria on the right, MAGA sort of stuff. And I could see that there was this sort of mania on the right about this stuff, which is almost entirely fantasy, right? And I just think it's because of the world he's running in. It's sort of like
you're kind of like rationalizing it, or you're trying to explain it by reference to like broader trends on the right, which makes
you want me to condemn Daryl Cooper and tell
no,
people.
I want you to engage. I want you engage with what I do and what I produced.
It's very similar. I think with them, it's very similar.
Is it damning? Is it like what's your takeaway?
Michael, stop. So I think it is similar, very similar to the charges of racism on the left, right? So people on the left, and I was part of this when I was on the left many years ago. Like there's sort of we assume as we walk through the world that racism is this major undercurrent in American culture, and that most, if not all, white people have some kind of racism in them, and it comes out occasionally. But we just know in our hearts, right, without having to check the facts, that you're racist, white people are racist, white men are racist. He's, whoever is racist, whoever we don't like at the moment, he's probably a racist as well. On the right, it is, oh, there's a Democrat, a liberal, but we don't like them, and I bet they're a pedophile. It's the same thing, and it's just as stupid. It's just as damaging. It damages, yes, their own credibility. But then again,
I want to talk about Daryl Cooper more.
Although I think maybe if it's true, it doesn't quite do that. So that's all we have on that, though. Tyler, what are your thoughts on all this? I mean, we've I think we covered all of it, I guess, for the most part. I know I probably didn't quite engage in the chat's arguments to the degree they would like, but I don't have all fucking day, so we just read the thread and spent way too much time on that as it is. But what are your thoughts, Tyler?
I exactly what Thaddeus is talking about there. I've said multiple times, which is what you do. It's old. He's a Nazi. So once you label someone a certain way, now you don't have to engage in their conversation. You don't have to listen to anything. Michael Tracy's trying to be a little more subtle, because what you typically do with Daryl Cooper, you say he's a Holocaust denier, even though his martyr-made, New Jerusalem or whatever it was. It goes into extensive detail about the Holocaust. It doesn't deny it at all. It accentuates it, and he plays that part just well. So if you can say he's now a shoddy researcher or whatnot, you don't have to listen to everything. Like I said, I did that with Sosfin Amadus or whatever his name is, the Bitcoin standard guy. He wrote
I believe it's couscous.
You know, and I think he's smart and he knows his stuff. Yeah. That guy specifically, but he's so insufferable that it's just there's someone else that can play his role, and that's kind of that. Anyway, so I think what Thaddeus is saying there is completely right. The pedo, you claim they're a pedo, you claim they're a shoddy researcher, maybe they're a plagiarist, and now you don't have to listen to the actual context of what they're saying, which is
I actually
Epstein.
interpreted that last little bit differently, that he was going on racism. I actually interpreted him as making the equation of, maybe I wasn't paying attention, I zoned out because it's a long video. I'd have to re-listen to it. I interpret that a different way, like he was equating pedophilia to like racism, and this idea that like it's like widespread and that like people are kind of invent it where it's not there. I interpret it that way, but I don't know, maybe I'd have to really listen to it. Maybe
I took it as you call someone a racist, now you've determined them to be the ill-gotten types that you don't have to engage with. So now you're a pedo. Maybe so. I think it all look, there could be multiple reasons why you call someone a pedo.
Well, Tyler, let people know where they can find you. It's been a pleasure catching up with you. It's been a while. I don't think we've hung up since the unfortunate Tower Gang breakup. But it's a pleasure to have you back. We didn't even talk about it all. I don't know nor do I really care to. So, but it's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's you can see it right on the screen there, Tyler Janke. Go to their Twitter. I have a show, LPR. We're going to be doing a legal Wednesday show, legal pundit report. I'm trying to do.
Oh, you're reusing the acronyms. I get it. So you're going for like a more of a regular show, but going on the current events of legal stuff. Is that the vibe?
Yeah, so I'm going to try to do that on Wednesday. Still my Friday show, do commentary, take on Israel, all that stuff that we normally do. But it maybe just hey, look, Tower Gang's out, so someone's got to fill the void in that spot.
Got to do something.
Now. So,
you're bored. What are we going to do? Spend time with our wives on Wednesdays?
She just texted me. She said, "Is this podcast going to hijack your day?" So I guess I need to go.
Well, it's I got other topics we can. All right, I'll let you go, Tyler. You dropped all your plugs, right? I think you got them all.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for those who want to. Oh, yeah, appreciate it. We'll have to do it again. Let me know whenever you're available. You're always welcome. For those who want to support what I'm doing over here, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can also follow me on Twitter at TowerGangJose. Those are all really small, easy, free steps you can do to help grow this show. If you want to help the show grow in the best way you really can, the best way you can do that is with money. Go to patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2. And I hope you get, I like to try to give you back your value at the $2 level. I mean, I hope you get your value just by out of the support. You just feel like, hey, you're getting $2 of value as it is, but I still try to give you something back. I have a number of perks. I do numerous paywalled episodes during the week, usually 1 to 2, usually keep about 4 behind the paywall any given time. So it's weeks of paywalled content. You also get access to the ad-free RSS feed. You also get access to a Telegram, access to the pre-show and priority for the call-ins, Amin Austin's weekly live call-in show. Although actually I need to talk to my production guy now because I think we actually might be able to get to real call-ins here soon. So that might be changing up the structure. But anyways, that's my live call-in show I do on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you ever want to talk to us, that's the place to do it. And the highest level are my sponsors. I give them a big shout out. Every episode is a big thank you to the support to the show. I have my previous co-hosts on Tower Gang at Learner Toad, also at Abrogate D's, at ZLVRCK, at _Infantil, Tim Tuttle, at John Klebo, Will Bell's Delicious Blueberry Rabbit Eye Wine, big fan of the show, Tormay, at Wayne Taculus, Not Masad, and Andrew Jacobs, the completely involuntary Jew. That's what he told me to say. That is our newest sponsor. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate you joining. He had some choice words for Timcast with when he did it. Maybe I'll have to read those later. He had actually sent a nice message, so that was sweet. He said it was telling that I chose to talk mad shit about Timcast, despite the fact I probably could have done better. Although I don't know if I could have done better because I don't assume they're watching this, but but like I don't know. Is that why I haven't got invited again? Don't know. Don't really care. I don't even think I want to go at this point. Frankly, it's fucking sucks. What's up? Whatever. I guess I left you weird. What are your thoughts on Tim Pool, Tyler? Do you want to burn your chances of ever going to the show? I'm just kidding. But I don't know.
They should have me on. I mean, they have Shane Cashman. I don't hardly watch it. I did check out a few weeks ago when they were talking about the flag burning. I also went over that executive order. People, check out my show. I also did someone said, is Thad sus? I interviewed him. I didn't talk to him about that, but you can go see that. I did a review of his show, and he said, this is the best breakdown I've ever seen. So he offered to come on my show. He was an hour late, and then he never retweeted it. So yeah, he's sus.
I think I did an Emma Goldman episode with him forever ago. I have no complaints.
That's right, on the Anarchist Handbook.
Yeah, I never finished that. Maybe one day. I lost my my art side of that, though.
Yeah. Tim Cass, though, I mean, it's what it is. It's kind of turning in like we just saw there. Piers Morgan yelling. It's not as entertaining.
But
as
even then, it's just like, at least Piers is like, yeah, it's smut, but it's like, I guess in the smut in the pursuit of something positive. Whereas this feels like covering for evil to me. Like every time I see stuff coming out of there, it's always like, what is going on there? I guess like technically, as we've kind of needled around today, the idea of like you can't read minds, you don't really. But it's like technically we don't know. They always do seem to ride this good line of like you can't really assume motives. But it's like I don't know how many times I go. At the very least, it's a fucking useless rag. I don't know. Like so.
When you put Miss Patriot on there, sorry, my dog's taking. When you put Miss Patriot on there, you're kind of losing the plot. So.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the fact he's even getting, but yeah, if you have Misfit Patriot on your episode, yeah. But what need I say more? But with that, Tyler, it's been a pleasure having you on here. I'm gonna let you go. Tell your dog to shut the fuck up.
Okay, I'm out.
I'm just kidding.
Take care.
Love you, brother.
Love you
we'll see you. Enjoy the outro, guys. It's a funny one. It's a classic. It's a good one. We'll see you. Bye bye.
When I was 9, I got molested by a guy with Down syndrome.
Don't laugh, Brandon. I'm not laughing.
Why'd you laugh?
It's just.
That's fucking rude.
It's such a curveball.
I'm gonna say it again, and if you smile, I'm gonna leave.
Okay. But
No,
hold
I'm being
on.
real. If you smile,
all
I'm
right.
gonna fucking leave.
Hold on.
That really fucking broke me.
No.
All right. You ready? Don't cover your mouth though either.
Hey.
You can't cover your mouth. Because the thing is that I'm telling you something that's like I'm vulnerable about it, and I'm expressing
I'm trying to
a
be
truth
cool.
to you.
Hey, dude, you gotta get serious.
And if you cover your mouth, I just feel like you're laughing.
Nope, let's do it.
All right.
This is,
So when I was 9, I was brutally molested by.
You can't say brutally.
Why?
Because that's a curveball.
Why is that? So when I was 9 years old,